Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this What If story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by 𝗧𝗵𝗲𝗔𝘂𝘁𝗵𝗵 on Wattpad. Now, let's start. It was a normal day for Class 1A. Aside from being tried from the school festival, things were back like they used to, with Aizawa giving a lecture to the class, when suddenly a portal ripped open in front of everyone. What the? Everyone back. Aizawa ordered activating his quirk. The portal then positioned itself by Izuku and started sucking him in 9. Hey guys. Help. Izuku yelled before being fully dragged into the portal. Midoriya/Midori/Dekuverse/𝗵𝗃𝗫/𝗵𝗏𝗧. All the student, mainly the girls, yelled, rushing over to the portal. 1. Wait, don't get to, Aizawa stated, but was cut off with the portal also starting to pull him in as well. Before long the whole of the class was pulling into the portal. When they got to the other side, all they saw was darkness. Where are W? Minato asked, scared, but was cut off by Deku-kun. Deku-kun, where are you? Uraraka yelled, with Jiro, Mina and Momo being just as scared of what happened to their cinnamon roll. 5. Everyone get your heads straight and stay together. For all we know the enemy is all around us. Be ready for anything, Aizawa ordered. Oi, whoever's out there, show yourself so I can beat your face into your skull. Bakugo yelled, making small explosions in his hands. 3. He then noticed a faint silhouette of 2 people in front of him from the light made from his explosions and quickly shot himself over to it. Alright, I'm sorry for the scare, bud, and also the lights, one of the figures said to the other figure. So you dragged us here. You better tell me before I blast you to hell. You damn in extra. Bakugo yelled, readying an explosion before seeing the all too familiar green hair. That was Izuku's. Wait. Kaken, calm down, he's not the enemy. Izuku yelled, getting between them. Dekukin/Midoriya/Midori/𝗵𝗏𝗧. The rest of the class yelled, going to him. After a bit of the class telling Izuku how scared they were about him, Aizawa went to the figure. Well, I think it's safe to assume you are the reason we're here, right? So either you tell me what's going on and let us go, or things are gonna get messy. Aizawa asked. Mr. Aizawa, sir, please calm down. I only brought you all here so you could see the multiverse/dimensions of your student Izuku Midoriya. It's why I brought him in first. The figure explains. Me? Why me? You said we're seeing the multiverse. You didn't say it was about me. They are tons of better people than me, Izuku stated. Besides, why would others want to see something about me? Izuku thought to himself. 6. Aizawa let the figure go, and then a door appeared in front of them. Come in here and me and a few others will explain, the figure asked. Like hell we're gonna. Bakugo yelled, launching at him. The figure lifted his hand and made Katsuki freeze in the air and put him back down with his class 1. Hey Baku bro, I think you misjudging the guy too much, Kirishima said. I wasn't, shitty hair. It called keeping you guard up, Bakugo retorted. Well, sir, what should we do? Todoroki asked. Sign we don't have much of a choice, we'll go, but keep you guard up and stay together everyone, Aizawa ordered, keeping his scarf at the ready. Yes sir. The class all responded. As they all approached the door, they started to hear voices through the door. Upon opening the door, they all saw their teachers, Nizu, Bakugo's parents, presumably Izuku's mother, Class 1B, some pro heroes, the Shields, Eri, Kota, the Big 3, and a certain black-haired woman that only Izuku and All Might seem to recognize. 3. So you all finally got here, Nizu stated in his casual tone, sitting on All Might's shoulder. Hiya, future husband, Miss Joke said with a chuckle. 3. Oh, would you look what we have here. Class 1, what's wrong? I thought you all always Minoma stated, but was knocked out by Kendo. Sorry about him guys, Kendo said, dragging Minoma to a wall. Well, now that you're all here, it's time we explain some things to you all. Please take a seat. A voice said. They all look and see 4 people that all look almost identical to each other, all holding a strange-looking weapon too. All of them were of course skeptical, but soon enough they all walked down and took a seat in the theater. Just. What in the hell do you think you're doing here, old hag, and with the old man too? Katsuki yelled to his parents. What did I saw about calling me that? Mitsuki yelled back with the 2 of them, then getting into a screaming fight in front of everyone, making everyone's sweat drop. At the mother and son dynamic. Are you okay? You're not hurt, right? Izuku asked, being his usual concerned self. I'm fine, sweetie. It was scary being put here suddenly, but these young men explained to me that everything gonna be fine. 𝗵𝗃 replied, hugging her son, making everyone crack a small tear at the wholesome mother and son they all saw in front of them. 𝗵𝗃 never gained weight due to Izuku giving a lot more support to 𝗵𝗃 growing up. Here's a picture cause why not 𝗵𝗃 never gained weight due to Izuku giving a lot more support to 𝗵𝗃 growing up. Here's a picture cause why not 9. Ignore the text and Mitsuki, and no, 𝗵𝗃 is not a hero nor vigilante/villain. Anyway, back to the story. 5. Whoa, Midoriya, is that really your mom? Mineta asked. Yeah. Izuku asked, confused. She's ho. Mineta said, but was cut off with Tsu slapping him. 7. Don't say weird things about Midoriya's mother, ribbit. Tsu said, alright, not that everyone it's settled. Let's begin, one of the 4 men said, stepping up. Watch it extra. Useless, you want your face blown off, Katsuki threatened. Oh, Katsuki Bakugo, I'd love to have a spar with you, but since there are kids here, I won't. One of the 4 guys said, what, you saw extra? Done? T looked down on me. Katsuki yelled and tried using his quirk, but nothing happened. What the? Why can T use my quirk? Katsuki yelled, sign really lost. You just had to do that. One of 4 asked, that enough you two anyway? I apologize for all this. My name is Shadow, and to answer your question, Bakugo, we temporarily are preventing you all expect for the pros and you parents and the ones here that have a cool head from using your quirks. Back to the point, I and the other 3 here are what are known as guiders. Shadow stated, guiders for what exactly? Nizu asked, we are guiders of the multiverse. It's our duty to make sure universes follow their story. We call it, Shadow said, for story. What do you mean story? Momo asks, just let us explain, we'll answer your question after. My name is Lost. Now, the multiverse, as you know if you know of the theory, are alternate realities of your own, correct? Lost stated, and everyone nodded. Good. My name is also Lost, but call me Fade. Anyway, each and every universe is created when a new idea is made in a universe indefinitely. The idea/universe is what we call a story. Fade states, making everyone confused, my name is also Shadow, but call me Shade. Anyway, when a universe/story is created, a set ending is given to that universe as well. The universe can experience events that can change how the ending is achieved, but the universe mustn't change so much that it changes the ending. Shade explained, what will happen if one does? Izuku asks, unfortunately the universe will disappear, killing all forms of existence within it. Lost states, 5. This made everyone freeze, being hit with the knowledge that at any moment if they made the wrong choice without even knowing their very existence would be erased forever. Now, it's our job as guiders to provide aid to universes that are experiencing an event that could change the ending of its story, even if that means we have to replace one of the people to make it happen, hence why we're also very powerful. Lost says, I understand, so you guiders are in charge of making sure universes stay on track. Nizu states, to which the 4 of them nod. If you're confused about this, there's a somewhat better explanation at the end. 6. Then explain to us why you brought all of us here, dears. Midnight asked. Simple. It caused your universe in experience what we call a pause, where all events are frozen for an unknown amount of time. And we want to show you other versions of him. Points to Izuku to help make sure you make the right choices when your universe resumes. Shadow states, but WI specifically. Izuku asks, flustered. Yeah, why the nerd? Katsuki asks, annoyed. Simple, it's cause. Going by book terms, Izuku is the main character. Fade states, which shocked everyone. Young Midoriya? Congrats, you're the main character. All Might said, patting Izuku on the back. 7. This was followed with Izuku's class and some of 1B all congratulating him, aside from Katsuki, who wanted to do something but his mother stopped him. Well, with that all said, me and Fade gotta go. Need to help a rebellion, Shadow said. What? A rebellion? Uraraka asked. Don't worry, it's nothing to be concerned about, and Shadow, I'm coming too. This empire is the size of 4 galaxies, Shade said to Shadow, then used his axe and ripped open a portal. Everyone saw a massive spaceship and they saw the 3 of them jump through the portal and smash into the ship, destroying it. 4. Geez, those 3, I wanted to do it. Please don't let that get to you. It happens a lot with them. Lost said, seeing everyone dumbfounded at what they just saw. Let's Just get started, shall we? 𝗧 said as he raised his arm toward the theater screen and it began searching for a universe to show. The screen displayed the word Judgment 3. I assume that's the name for this universe, Vlad King asked, which 𝗧 nodded. The screen showed beautiful rooftops deep in the night and a silhouette of a person sitting on the roof diligently looking at the street below. Now just what kind of things will happen here tonight? The figure asked himself. Who is that? He don't resemble any of us. And why is he just chilling on the roof? Denki asked, since the person they saw was wearing a helmet. How about you just shut your trap with the obvious questions and we'll find out. Captain Obvious, Jiro said with Denki looking hurt. 3. Now what do we have here? The person said, seeing a small group of people. Well now, forgot to send me an invite to their little party. Let's see if it's something to throw a fit about. The person said, heading towards the group. Why? Do you think he's hung up about a party? I love going to parties but not that much, Mina asked, missing the point. I presume he is talking about a different kind of party. Miss Ishido, Nizu states, getting a good idea what about to happen. What, like a hangout kind of party? It's a little late for that, Denki said, missing the point even more than Mina. Jesus Christ, Dunce face, the hell is wrong with you head? Katsuki said too. Another set of muggers, and to a women's sign. I'm gonna need a new blade after this. The person said, jumping down to street level to get to the group. Ugh. Good God, thugs like that are the worst, Midnight said within lady, agreeing for once. Something's off about him, Aizawa says. What do you think, future husband? Emi asks. 3. 1. Don't call me that. 2nd, the way he's acting and how he's approaching this, there's information yet to be uncovered, Aizawa states as the person made it to the ground and caught up to the group. There were about 5 guys there, each of them have different elemental-based quirks. Lady, just give us the purse, one of the muggers demanded. Yeah, and maybe after some fun we'll let you go, another mugger said as he slightly burned a part of the women's clothes. Please, stop. Someone please help me, the women said, starting to cry. So, see offenders as well, huh? You're all gonna get it? The person thought, getting closer to them. What those guys are doing is so manly. The manly duo yelled out one as the group of men surrounded the women, with one of them slowly burning away her clothes. 3 of them suddenly felt a press on their neck and fainted. What? The remaining 2 guys yelled, feeling an intense pain in their shoulders and legs. They looked as saw kunais embedded into their flesh. They looked to see who threw them and saw a person. He was wearing a helmet covering his whole head and had a simple civilian clothing on with an overcoat too, using underhanded tactics to gain the advantage. Interesting. Izuku mumbled to himself too. Oh, shut up, Deku. Katsuki yelled, hearing him. 5. Again. Izuku replied, acting a lot more scared than normal. 17. Who the hell are you? Ah, God, that hurts. The man yelled, pulling out one of the kunais. 6. I'm your judgment, and based on what you all just did into that woman, I judge you guilty. The person stated, blocking a swing from one of the men and breaking his arm till the bone came out. Izuku and Mirio covered Eri and Koda's eyes so they didn't see this. That was extremely uncalled for. A hero should always do his or her best to reduce damage to both the surrounding area and the villain. Hilda scolded, doing the robot with his arms too. What's with that kid and the robotic arm movement? Death Arms asked, not receiving any kind of explanation other than shrugs. UBSer. I'll F you up, the other man yelled, sending out a line of ice at the person. The person sidestepped the ice and struck the thug in the neck, knocking him out. Language. Hilda yelled. 16. Hey, class rep, you do know that they can't hear you, right? Denki stated, making Hilda sit back down a bit embarrassed. 1. He struck him in the carotid artery, stopping blood flow to the brain long enough for him to pass. This person, whoever he is, knows how the body works, Recovery Girl said, seeing this. 3. Now for the other 3. The person states, seeing the other guys get back up, you're gonna die, right here. But the 3 guys stated as they all blasted fire at him. So predictable, the person said, easily dodging the fire and knocking each one of them down. Geez, and I was expecting a more harder fight. The person said, tying up the 5 men and putting his coat on the women. Well, at least he didn't forget about the women, but he should have contacted the police or other heroes to help. Momo points out. 4. He's acting more like a vigilante than a hero, Kendo adds after coving the women and giving back her purse. The man then put a label on the 5 guys which stated, muggers and 𝗕𝗁 offenders. 1. Now then, with this all done, time for you 3, with the fire quirk, to pay for what you did to this women's clothing. The person stated, pulling out a katana. 5. He then slowly points the blade to the thug's lower region, but before he could do anything, a white cloth flew right in front of his face. He looked and saw the pro eraser head. Before Mike could shout, the obvious Aizawa covered his mouth. "Shut it, I can see Mike," Aizawa said. "Hey look, Eraser. It's you." Emi yelled for Mike. 6. "Sign, of course you do that," Aizawa said, annoyed. "Hey, you guys don't think he was gonna do that, right?" Mineta asked, covering his nether region along with a few of the other boys. "Sign, you guys are lucky. 5 more seconds and I would have chopped off your manhood," the person said, sheathing his blade. This made most of the guys cringe hearing that. "That is an unheroic action." Hilda stated. 6. "Looks like my assumption may be correct," Nizu said, sipping his tea. "Of course you're the one doing this. You know that vigilantes are illegal. Just come quietly and make this easy," Aizawa asked. "You always show up as the worst time, Eraser. You do realize what these men tried doing to this woman? What if this woman was Emi?" The person asked, making Aizawa make a very clear scowl. 11. Hey Shoyuta, is there something you want to tell me?" Emi teased, along with Midnight supporting her too. Aizawa, however, just looked away, not responding much to Emi's disappointment. "Don't bring her into this," Aizawa states, "if you say so. But I'd love to stay and chat, but I need to go," the person said. Aizawa then shot his scarf at the person but was suddenly hit with a flash of light. By the time he can see again, the person's gone, and he then sees a note on his scarf. 1. "The world's cruel to those that are weak or different. You heroes get all the credit, while others such as myself do the dirty work. Call me a vigilante or a villain, I don't care, there are enough people that agree, I'm in the right just as much as you heroes," the note said. "Sign, I hate that kid sometimes," Aizawa said, and went to deal with the thugs the person dealt with. Meanwhile, on the rooftops, "You all many see me as the bad guy, or a criminal in the eyes of the law. But what I do to protect the weak, so they never have to feel how I felt," the person said, looking to the sky as he took of his helmet. As he took it off, they all see the green hair, eyes and freckles. 3. Deku/Midoriya. Everyone yells, stunned that the person they saw act like a vigilante was the school cinnamon roll. 2. Geez, I get it's a pretty big difference in personality, but did they really forget this is about him? Lost thought. Midoriya. Vigilantism is illegal and is unacceptable for a hero in training. Hilda yelled. 23. "Heldatidi, that's not me," Izuku said, scared. "I've never seen Dekukuin act that scared toward Hilda," Uraraka thought. "Eventually I will show this world that those that are weak and those that are quirkless are not inferior or useless," Izuku states. The screen then darkens. "Hey, we were enjoying that. What gives?" Mina pouted. "Sorry, but there is a time limit set for how long you can all see theses. Anyway, what do you all think?" Lost asks. "Based on that last statement, I presume Midoriya is quirkless in that universe," Nizu states, to which Lost nods. "Yeah, right, if a quirkless reject could get anything done." Katsuki yelled. 19. Most of them didn't take a liking to what Katsuki said, insulting the quirkless, with Aizawa and Nizu making a note to have a chat with Katsuki about it, how he views the quirkless, while on the side Izuku was quietly shaking at that comment. "Anyway, does anyone have questions about this universe?" Lost says, changing subject. "Why is Midoriya a vigilante? UA accepts those that are quirkless without bias. And just what is his real motives?" Nizu asks. "Well, in that world, while people that are quirkless can apply to UA, they are placed into the general studies with no chance or offer to be placed into the hero course or support corp. Because of that, Izuku left UA, after which he saved a young girl from a villain, but because he wasn't a hero, the pros that found him shunted him, and from that day on, Izuku swore that he'd change how the world treats the weak, the ones with weak quirks and the quirkless." Lost explains. 1. They all looked to Izuku and wondered if their Izuku would do something similar if put in the same situation. 7. Why was Problem Child using such violent tactics? Aizawa asks, referring to Izuku breaking the thug's arm. "It's because, when he first started capturing villains and leaving them to the heroes, he took notice that the punishments that were given to the villains were very light, especially to villains that had very powerful quirks or had money to throw around." Lost states. Then a portal suddenly opens. "Hey Lost, we need you. This empire is more powerful than we thought." Shadow states. 1. Behind him they all see a massive battlefield. "Really fine, huh? Sorry all of you, but I need to go." I'll give you guys this 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗔𝗂𝘁 creating a remote-looking device. This device will control what is shown on the screen. Here Eri, you take it, just press any of these buttons and it will show something 𝗧𝗂𝗧𝗧 giving it to her. Why give it to a child? 𝗕𝗏𝗲 asked in a rude tone, making some of the pros angry. 'Cause she, while young, is trustworthy, 𝗧𝗏 replied, running to the portal to help. That and I kinda want them to see a nice universe before seeing others, 𝗧𝗏 thought. One after 𝗧𝗏 left, all eyes turned to Eri. Now Eri, not being used to this much attention, froze and even started to cry a little. Hey guys, stop with all the stares, you're scaring Eri, 𝗕𝗏𝗲 said, going to Eri, along with Izuku and Mirio. Really? Giving such a thing to a child? This 𝗬𝗪 is a fool, 𝗕𝗏𝗲 restated, making Eri even more scared while being hugged by 𝗕𝗏𝗲 and Izuku. 𝗕𝗏𝗲, calm down, I'm sure 𝗧𝗏 had good reason to give it to her. Now young me, Eri, how about you start the next universe for us to see? All Might said with his well-known smile not in his buff form. 3 Eri looked to the remote and started to press some of the buttons, being a bit confused since there were quite a few of them, but eventually she pressed one and the screen turned. On the other kind of hero, Deku-kun, you have any idea what that means? Uraraka asked. Well, there are other professions that can be given the title hero, like being the policeman, a firefighter, a soldier. Even singers/celebrities can count as heroes sometimes, at least before quirks appeared. Izuku said, can we just watch what happens please, you two? Mina asks, and the two stop. Alright everyone, thank you for showing up. This is you host present Mike, take a deep breath. Why? Mike yells to the large crowd. Why? Mike said, but was stopped with Aizawa using his quirk on him and covering his mouth with his scarf so that he wouldn't burst everyone's eardrums too. Shut it Mike, I don't feel like losing my hearing just yet, Aizawa said, releasing Mike from his scarf. The UA Singing Championships start. Oh, www. Mike announces, wait, singing championship, as in we're singers. Mina yelled, looks that way. Jiro says, wow, I wonder if all of us are gonna sing. Denki said, this championship is held to determine who has the best voice here in UA. Crowd cheers now for the first singer to start things off. Mike says, pressing a button that made the screen behind him reveal a name. The first singer is Kyoka Jiro from Class 1. Mike announced as a light shined on Jiro's seat, making her blush a bit. Of course you'd be here Jiro, your voice was amazing during the school festival, Denki stated. Yeah Jiro, your voice is amazing, Uraraka said. You go girl. Mina said, gee guys stop, Jiro asked, embarrassed, looking to Izuku, hoping he'd also say something. Jiro stood up and went on stage, a bit frightened by not much. After a breath she was ready. Alright everyone, this song is about us heroes, Jiro stated. Playback speed 1.25. Legends never die when the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Whoa, everyone said, hearing Jiro's voice. They knew it, how good it was, but this the first time. Hearing it in this tone. Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless you survive. You are correct young Jiro. Heroes never back down and always there to fight on for the people, All Might said with a smile. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near its deep in their bones. They'll run into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. Dang Jiro, what a change in tone. Nice job, Toru said. Hey Jiro, do you by chance have a song like this one? Mina asked. Well actually I kinda thought of doing this song for the school festival, Jiro admitted. Really? Maybe you could sing it when we get back. Denki asked, to which Jiro denied. When the world is calling you, the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you, they become a part of you every time you bleed for reaching greatness. Yeah, we heroes always answer the call for help no matter what, Izuku yelled out. Yeah. Everyone responded. Legends never die, they're written down in eternity, but you'll never see the price it costs. Scars collected all their lives. Scars do not mean or show that you are weak, they show that you survived, Nana stated. 8 Eri looked to her arms with the many scars on them from Overhaul 2. Hey Snowball, that women's right, these scars are proof that you made it, 𝗕𝗏𝗲 said, hugging Eri. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat before it all starts. Suffer through harm just to touch a dream. Life doesn't just give you what you wish for, you have to work hard to earn it, Kirishima states. Demon right, Tetsu says as the two of them fist bump. Oh, pick yourself up, cause a couple of the students in the theater start to sing along legends never die when the world is calling you when the world is calling you can you hear them screaming out your name. Legends never die they become a part of you every time you bleed for reaching greatness legends never die when the world is calling out your name begging you to fight pick yourself up once more pick yourself up. Cause legends never die when the world is calling you can you hear them screaming out your name. Legends never die they become a part of you every time you bleed for reaching greatness legends never die. Thank you everyone, 𝗔𝗂𝘁𝗵𝗄 stated as the crowd cheered. You rocked it girl, Mina said putting her arm around 𝗔𝗂𝘁. Yeah, 𝗔𝗂𝘁 if you did this song during the festival it would have been amazing Momo added. Stop you guys. It wasn't that good, 𝗔𝗂𝘁 said. No it was amazing 𝗔𝗂𝘁. Your voice is something you should be proud of, Izuku stated which surprised the girls. That was one stellar performance from 𝗘𝗁𝗁 𝗔𝗂𝘁 of Class 1A. Next up we have presses the button 𝗓𝗏𝗁 𝗕𝗁𝗁 and 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏. Mike states, me and 𝗕𝗁𝗁. Sweet, 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. Wait Kiri you can sing. Mina asks, Mina, this is a different world but actually I can a bit, but likely nothing compared to what that version of me can do, 𝗕𝗁𝗁 stated. Wait, shitty hair can sing. Katsuki asked, yeah I can Baku bro, 𝗕𝗁𝗁 replied. Tisk, yeah right, Katsuki said playing off as a joke. Hey man, don't judge before you hear us, 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 said as the two of them went up on stage. Hey everyone. The two of us are gonna sing the most motivating music for you all. The crowd cheers this song about always pushing your limits no matter what, 𝗕𝗁𝗁 said as the two started. Awesome, a song for motivation, that's manly 𝗕𝗁𝗁 stated. You go Kiri, Mina yelled. Let's do it bro, 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 said 𝗕𝗁𝗁 too looking at the city like I already own it I'm standing on top cause I earned this moment I took what was mine, now I won't let go of it cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 I didn't call dumb lucks. Or oh no diamonds yeah I was barely getting by, we survive like lions but now I'm a king, now I'm a titan cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler. Hot Demon man your voices are incredible, Denki said with the rest of 1A saying the same to 𝗕𝗁𝗁. Thank everyone. I wish I could sing that well, 𝗕𝗁𝗁 said. 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏, your voice is incredible, Kendo said patting him on the shoulder. Thanks you guys but, that's not me, I can't actually sing. 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 said, still, hearing how you could sound it's still something. Setsuna said both keep turning up the heat I keep turning up the heat keep turning up the heat hey, I'm a hustler keep turning up the heat I know the price is steep they're gonna call me king hey, I'm a hustler hey, I'm a hustler, heck yeah, this is amazing, I gotta ask those guiders if they can give me CDs with these songs on them. 𝗕𝗁𝗁 said right as he said that a bag of CDs suddenly appeared in his lap with a note saying, I heard you so here you go Lost. Yeah, thanks Lost. 𝗕𝗁𝗁 yelled, hey 𝗕𝗁𝗁, you mind giving me some of those? 𝗔𝗂𝘁 asks to which 𝗕𝗁𝗁 nods 𝗕𝗁𝗁 I ain't afraid of the pressure when it comes on stronger cause I'm always pushing through I'm always going harder when everyone is through I'll be here longer cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler both keep turning up the heat I keep turning up the heat keep turning up the heat hey. I'm a hustler keep turning up the heat I know the price is steep they're gonna call me king hey, I'm a hustler hey. I'm a hustler 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 keep on looking up when things be getting down keep on looking up when things be getting down cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler cause I'm a hustler. Yeah I'm a hustler, come on guys let's join in. 𝗕𝗁𝗁 said with a good amount of the students taking part and started to sing along keep turning up the heat I keep turning up the heat keep turning up the heat hey, I'm a hustler keep turning up the heat I know the price is steep they're gonna call me king hey, I'm a hustler hey, I'm a hustler, thank you, hope all of you out there are just as pumped as we are with this song. 𝗕𝗁𝗁 and 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏 yelled out one, that was awesome and manly, I'm pumped to train, 𝗕𝗁𝗁 stated. Yeah. A lot of the 1A and 1B boys said, hey 𝗍𝗂𝘁 sir, maybe we should do something similar to that event. Mike said, maybe, it'd be a nice slow down to everything, 𝗍𝗂𝘁 replied making the student bot excited and also nervous. What an amazing song, that was very motivating. Now we have time for on more performance before we take a short breather and the last person to sing in the first half is presses the button Izuku Midoriya. Mike announces, wait, Midobro can sing. Kirishima asked, Midori, are you secretly a famous singer? Mina asked, 𝗬𝗑𝗑𝗧𝗏. And no, I can't sing, Izuku said blushing. Mrs. Midoriya, can your son sing? All Might asks Inko. Well, I don't really know, back then he kind of sung a bit but I don't think Izuku can really sing, Inko replied, 𝗬𝗑𝗑𝗧𝗏. But I didn't apply to take part in this, Izuku said then was tapped on the shoulder and saw Mina. Sorry Midori, but I put your name down, it was dare I'm sorry. Mina said 11, Mina? That is a betrayal of trust to a friend and classmate. Midoriya clearly didn't want to do it. Ilda said spinning his arms, Midori, I'm sorry for doing this to you. Mina said, and no it's fine Ishido, it wasn't the you in front of me now, Izuku states not wanting to make her feel bad, 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗍. As if the dim nerd can sing, bet he'll just embarrass himself in front of the public, Katsuki said as Izuku started to walk to the stage. Hey Bakugo, you shouldn't say stuff like that, Jiro said. Yeah, Deku-kun's at least trying, Uraraka said. Indeed, and besides Midoriya has always been able to surprise us. Momo said the girls all went to Izuku to support him. They were ready to protect their cinnamon roll from anything. I didn't even say that. That's not me, but yeah, I doubt the nerd can actually sing, Katsuki said. Why are you so mean to Papa? Eri asks, shocking everyone but some of the pros. 13. Tiri, why are you calling me that? Izuku asked, cause Papa saved 𝗵𝗃𝗲 always takes care of me, Eri states hugging Izuku. 11. So cute. All the girls including some of the pro heroes think, I wasn't aware I'd be singing, but I'll still do my best, Izuku says to the crowd who applauded to the kids' determination. TT, this song's also a motivation song. Sorry, I just hope you all like it. Izuku stated, grabbing a guitar instead of going to the mic first. All the others were just singing with having a band play the music. Not playing an instrument too, so it was strange to class 1. Wait Midoriya, you can play guitar? Jiro asked, both surprised but a little angry since he didn't tell her. Again, that's not me. I can play a little but it's probably nothing to what he can, Izuku said. 2. Deku-kun's stuttering a lot more than usual, wonder why. Uraraka thought. Izuku takes a deep breath and looks around, then looks to the band and signals them to start. Alright, time to give it all you have, Izuku thought. 3. Izuku starts playing the guitar with his fingers moving at ridiculous speeds. This stunned everyone. Hearing this with how good Izuku was on the guitar in the theater, it was no different, with everyone staring holes into Izuku, mouth wide open. Jesus Christ Midobro, you're killing it on the guitar. Kirishima said, how can he move his hand and fingers that quickly? Denki said too, with his quirk. But yeah Midoriya, this is insane how fast you're playing the guitar. Jiro said, Deku-kun, you're amazing playing the guitar. Uraraka said. Izuku pretty much passed out from all the attention he was getting from everyone. Take off at the speed of sound, bright lights, colors all around. I'm running wild, livin' fast and free, got no regrets inside of me, not looking back, not giving up, not letting go, I'll keep on running. And your voice is amazing. Kirishima states, shedding a tear, Midoriya, why didn't you sing for the school festival? Jiro asks too. Again Jiro, I'm not that good compared to that version of me. Izuku states, I'm gonna reach for the stars, although they look pretty far. I'm gonna find my own way and take a chance on today. The sky with stars so bright, the colors feel so right, I've never felt like this. I'll keep on running. The sky with stars so bright, the colors feel so right, just take my hand, we're gonna reach for the stars tonight. Tonight. Even when making a song, young Midoriya, you still inspire people to give it their all, no matter how hard it is to achieve your dream. All Might states, yeah kid, you're really a true hero. Nana adds too, TT, thank you, All Might and Miss Shimura. Izuku said, bowing, wake up, livin' day by day, do what I want. And I'll do it my way. The world's flying right below my feet, got no regrets inside of me, not looking back, not giving up, not letting go, I'll keep on running. I'm gonna reach for the star, although they look pretty far. I'm gonna find my own way and take a chance on today. The sky with stars so bright, the colors feel so right, I've never felt like this. I'll keep on running. The sky with stars so bright, the colors feel to right, just take my hand, we're gonna reach for the stars tonight. Tonight. Hey, I'm back, Lost said, coming through a portal. Welcome back Lost, some of the theater replied. Wait, how are you back already? With that war, Aizawa asked. It's caused of time differences between dimensions. For me it's been about 50 years since I was back here. Looks to the screen, so you're seeing this one, huh? Well, let me tell you guys that your world's Izuku can sing like this too. Lost states making Izuku freeze 8. Wait, really? Midori, can you please sing? Just this once, Mina asked too. Yeah, I'd love to hear you sing in person, Midoriya. Momo said, guys, please, I'm not that good. In Lost, you're overestimating me, Izuku said, denying it. No, I'm not. I know quite a bit about all of you, and you Izuku can definitely sing. Don't downplay your skill, Lost stated. Papa. Eri said, tugging on Izuku's breathed leg. Why's Eri, what is it? Izuku said, crouching down to her. Can you sing, Papa? Please. Eri asked, showing a face that no one could resist. 5 After that, Izuku eventually broke, and Lost gave him a guitar. You can do it, Deku-kun. Uraraka said, cheering him on. Hey, you should stay quiet. Hearing you guys may do the opposite and make him more nervous. Lost states, making everyone quiet too. Izuku take a breath and then sings in sync with the universe they're seeing. I've got it in my sight, the colors feel so right, got my feet off the ground. I'll keep on running, oh I can feel it now, the colors all around, just take my hand, we're gonna reach for the stars. Holy see, he's amazing. And look at the cute smile, Mina thought. My god, Midoriya, why did you hide this from us? Maybe me and you could sing together and maybe do something else too, Jiro thought. 23. He's been hiding this the whole time. Wonder if he's done love songs too, Momo thought. Deku-kun, why'd you hide this from em? I mean everyone, Uraraka thought. Then Lost closes the screen and Izuku continues to sing. Just take a chance, we'll do it right again, we're gonna reach for the stars, just take my hand, we'll take a chance tonight, reach for the stars tonight. Tonight. Song end. When Izuku stopped, he then noticed that he was not singing with the universe and was just singing by himself. Everyone in the theater minus a select few clapped and cheered for Izuku. Deku-kun / Midoriya, that was amazing. Uraraka, Mina, Momo and Jiro all said, going to him, my baby, why'd you keep this a secret for so long? That was amazing, Inko said too. Everyone, you might want to stop before thud that happens, Lost said, but was stopped hearing Izuku pass out in front of everyone. The girls all ran to Izuku to pick him up and put him back in his seat, all the while blushing. Seeing Izuku's adorably funny face, the girls all ran to Izuku to pick him up and put him back in his seat, all the while blushing. Seeing Izuku's adorably funny face, add blush. I'll give you all a break until Izuku wakes up. There are a few door in the back. Each on goes to various things, Lost said, snapping his fingers, and door appear. Is one of them a workout gym? I'm pumped to train. Kirishima and the guys said, yeah, and there's a sparring ring in there too, Lost says. Alright everyone, we'll take a short breather, everyone come back here in 15 minutes, 𝗎𝗓 said. But sir, that's not a lot of time, some of the guys said. Don't worry about the time, 15 minutes here is about 2 hours in these rooms, Lost states. With that, everyone headed into different door to do their own business, whatever it was they wanted, while Inko stayed with her son till he woke up once again. The first few chapters of this story are modeled in terms of plot points by Rimuru Slayer's story, Watching the Dekuverse fanfic. 15 minutes had passed in the theater and everyone had come back from what they were doing in each of the room. Welcome back everyone. Now let's continue to the next universe, Lost said as everyone got back to their seats. Pain of the Quirkless 5. We have suffered in silence long enough, a hooded figure stated to massive crowd of people. 1. Whoa, that's one way to start things, Siro said. What are they doing? Uraraka asked, confused, while most of the UA staff grew concerned, connecting the tile of the universe to what they saw. If my assumption is correct and this person is just as skilled as the last one we saw, then something big is gonna happen, 𝗎𝗓 thought. I ask you all, aren't you all tired? Tired of being beaten, abused, looked down on, treated differently because you were born different? The hooded figure asks. The stepped up, and when she did, they all saw a young girl covered with bruised and had some open cuts on her face. She then fell over, to which the hooded figure went and caught her. You said that if we came here, you'd help us, that you could stop the pain. That you'd be our hero. Please, I'm so tired, so scared from all the pain, all the insults, being called worthless, the young girl said, crying too. Hey, that girl, she looks kinda like, Mirio said, not wanting to believe it. Eri, Izuku finishes Mirio while holding Eri with Nijire, with everyone, mainly the ones that were there during Eri's rescue mission. Freeze. Lost, is that really? Nijire asked. Sorry, but yes, that is Eri, Lost states. Aren't you and the others supposed to help universes? Izuku asked, yes, but only if the universe doesn't follow its path, meaning we can't do anything. If we did intervene, the universe would disappear, Lost explains. Who in their right mind would do something like that to a child? Ryukyu said. Why didn't heroes come to help her? Kendo asked, looking to the pros. Young Kendo, let this be a lesson, as much as we don't like saying it. We heroes can only reach so far, and there will always be those that are too far out of reach for us to save. All Might states, yeah, take us guiders, our duty is to preserve universes, but sometimes that also means we have to let things like this happen for the sake of the universe's survival. We hate having to let it happen, but we have to. Lost adds for, well, there is one type of universe that we make exceptions to. Lost thought 27, I will be your hero, little one, and to all of you out there like us, hearing this, join us. Show the world that we are more than what they saw. Show that we've been pushed around long enough. Show them that we, the 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗁, are people too, the hooded figure said as the crowd stood in silence. Don't you all want vengeance, want justice on those that have hurt you? Don't you want to be emancipated from the brutality and tyranny forced on us? I ask you this, do you really believe that the heroes will actually come to your aid when it's needed most? That things will really get better? I believe we all know the truth to that. Now will you join me? You're free, you are people, it's up to you to decide, the hooded figure states as the crowd stays silent. 3, I'll join you, the little girl states, standing back up. Soon enough they all stood up and did the say, we'll follow you. The crowd cheered, all yelling and screaming that they will help him. Hey, I get that All Might said there are people we can't reach, but just look at how many of them there are, Setsuna stated. Yeah, and did you see how fast they went to join his cause? It shows that they've all been suffering for so long. Kendo adds, as for the heroes, they all looked down in shame, seeing how much they had failed the people they swore to protect. Then rise. The hooded figure ordered. They all did and looked to. The person with hope in their eyes that the long nightmare they had been forced to endure will now finally come to an end. Today will begin a new struggle. I will train you all. It will be hard, it'll be painful, but we've all endured pain before. But once it's over, we will show the world that they should be afraid and that being 𝗕𝗁𝗁 doesn't mean we're worthless. The hooded figure said, rising his fist into the arm, for equality. The hooded figure yelled, for equality. The crowd chanted 21, then the screen freezes. Hey, what gives? Mina asked. Sorry, but I'm gonna skip ahead a year. All that happens is them training for that whole year, and besides there's a lot you all will see, so I'm showing you the important events. Lost states 1 year later, man, I can't believe it's been a whole year since all those people vanished. Or, the Exodus event, Kirishima said, talking with his class. They had just finished Aizawa quirk assessment test, and they were all pretty shocked that one of them actually got expelled. Wait, Mr. Aizawa actually expelled someone in that world? Momo asked. So does ours? Last year Mr. Aizawa expelled a whole class, 𝗍𝗓 said. 1? Yeah, you guys seem to have made him fall hard for you. Hurts my heart a little. Emi added. The whole of class 1A were in a state of shock, but not much, since they believed, especially Mississippi joke, was not being serious. Hey, why do you give a 𝗕𝗁𝗁? That whole group was 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗁. If anything, I'm glad they're gone. Those 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗁 stains were doing nothing but dragging society down, Katsuki bluntly stated. 9. You know, Bakugo, you are legitimately trash of a human, Monama said, but with scowl instead of a grin and hysterical laugh. 12. What did you call me, you copycat loser? Katsuki yelled. Monama, could you just for onk? Kendo said, but was cut off. No, Kendo, this isn't about our class rivalry. It's overwhelmingly clear that he see all of us as extras cause he thinks his quirk is better than all ours. With that said, how do you think he'd view the 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗁 on top of that? Based on the comment he said about the first universe and what we've all just heard in this one, I think it's pretty clear that views them as expendable. Right, Bakugo? Monama explained, surprising everyone that he isn't blabbering his head off with random insults but with actual reason and logical assumption too. That enough, Monama. Just keep watching, Vlad said to along with Aizawa. 10. Before long, 𝗧𝗏 came and swing his phone around like a madman. Guys, check out what was just posted online. 𝗧𝗏 yelled. They all gather around 𝗧𝗏 and looked to his phone. On HeroTube there was a video titled, Rise. 𝗧𝗏 played the video. Hello Japan, bet you forgot about us. Either way, the time has come for us 𝗕𝗁𝗁𝗁 to take our revenge for what you did to us all. Until all those have wronged us are punished and the way of life is changed, there won't be peace or safety. Especially to those involved in our suffering, be prepared, for after day you will either accept change or suffer as much as we have. The video stated as it ended, really? You all believe in this SHT please? It's just a low-life villain that probably their mother couldn't love, so he blames society for him being weak. He'll be caught by the end of the week, Katsuki stated as he left the class later in the day. In Mizudafu we see a small group together each talking through comms and screens. Everything's in place sir, one of them say. Then let's begin, the hooded figure stated as he heads out. While the screen zooms into one of the multiple screen the hooded figure was viewing. What do you think he's planning? Toru asks, don't know, Lost, can you tell us? Ojiro asks, all I'm gonna say is get ready if any of you are squeamish and you may want to cover Eri and Koda's eyes. Lost states which worries everyone why. Denki asks one. Trust me, you'll understand. Lost replies we then see a small group of students start to wake up in a school. Where are we? One of the boys asks. Looks like we're back in our middle school, a girl said helping the boy up. What's on our necks? Another kid asks. They're quirk-canceling collars. Till we get them off we can't use our quirks, the girl stated. So you're all awake now huh? A distorted voice said scaring all the students. They looked to where the voice came from and saw a figure. Before they could do anything the figure then exploded in gas. Cough what going on, guys you still there? The girl asked out, but when the gas dissipated the girl looked and saw that she wasn't surrounded by the middle school friends anymore, but monster-like beings too. Cough what going on, guys you still there? The girl asked out, but when the gas dissipated the girl looked and saw that she wasn't surrounded by the middle school friends anymore, but monster-like beings something like this. Just not that many, Kaya. Stay away from me. The girl yelled. She tried using her quirk but remember that she had a quirk-canceling collar one, so she looked around and saw a metal bat and rushed to grab it. The monsters then all started to attack at random, with each on attacking and swing their arms around like crazy. After a few minutes they see that the bat broken but was the last one standing, with all the monster-like beings motionless on the ground. If she did it, she beat the monsters. Uraraka stated, no wait, there's something off about this. Izuku said, what do you mean Midori? She took out all those scary monsters. Mina asked, what happened to the students she was with? The gas couldn't have changed them into that without us seeing or at least hearing some kind of transformation. Izuku explained one. So, old friend, it's scary isn't it? Feeling powerless, a voice suddenly said behind the girl, what? Who's there? Stay back. Please just let me go, the girl cries out, but then her Vison starts to get fuzzy as she rubs her eyes. She then looks around and realizes the monster bodies were gone but replaced with something else her friends, Wa. And no I Kaya. The girl screams out now being able to clearly see the world around her. There was BLD everywhere, the insides of her once friends now torn open, they were dead killed by her. Their own friend the girl couldn't handle it and started to puke. As for the theater, it wasn't any better. Holy F. Setsuna and Denki yelled out as Lost expected. Many of the students nearly vomited. See that, with Eri and Koda thankfully having their eyes covered by Inko and Pixie Bob with the heroes look with disgust and anger at the sight. It's a horrible feeling right, feeling weak. The hooded figure spoke. Who are you? Why are you doing this? The girl asked, oh no Zomi, remember the name Eri? The hooded figure asked Eri. From middle school. She vanished last year. Nozomi said, well, she would be here instead of me but she's a bit busy. In fact she came up with this, the hooded figure stated, I did that. Eri asked about to cry. No, Eri it's not you remember, you're not that Eri. Nijire along with Izuku said hugging her too. Hey Lost, just what the heck happened to her? What did that girl do? Aizawa asked, just keep watching and you'll get a good idea. Lost said seeing a lot of the students go to comfort Eri. Please, sir, spare me, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry for what I did to her. Nozomi begged, Nemozi, you know she adored you, she always looked up to you, she looked to you like a big sister, yet what did you do? You bullied her, you beat her, you cast her out for something as simple as quirkless. What you saw today was how she saw the world, how she saw people before she met me, because of you. She begged you to stop just like how you are now, but did you stop? No, so why should I stop? The hooded figure stated as the screen darkens and all that could be heard was a scream followed by a crack. Where are the heroes? Aizawa yelled with everyone agreeing with him. How has no one responded to this? Surely someone must have heard the screams. All Might stated, hey, just what kind of gas is that? David asked, it's a kind of fear gas. Short explanation is that if someone inhales it, any living thing they see will appear to them as their worst fear regardless of who it is. Gas mask is useless, Lost explained. Wait, then how come that person wasn't affected by it? Denki asked. Because, in this world, they engineered it so that it doesn't affect a person if their genetic code is in their database. Lost stated basically Manticore from 𝗕𝗏𝗿 and Scarecrow's fear gas put together too. They could drop this in a battlefield or a HQ and cause their enemy to start to attack each other out of fear of what they're seeing, causing a complete breakdown in the chain of command. Izuku muttered. Everyone was scared of the thought of being tricked into attacking and even killing their closest friends because they think they're fighting their greatest fear. 5 As the screen comes back, the hooded figure is seen coming out of the school and is approached by 3 people. So I assume you've dealt with the police and heroes in this area. The hooded figure asks, yes sir, 5 policemen, the number 20, 40 and 44 hero, all eliminated before they could call for backup. They showed up exactly as you said. The men reported good status on the other locations. The hooded figure asked, they've all finished their missions. Total number of people killed tonight, 115 students and 34 police and 15 pro heroes. The men said, well, there's your answer sir, Zero said, shaking a bit. Everyone was shocked. Not only that they had killed over 100 students, but also police and heroes, and based on how they were speaking it's almost like they were expecting all of it. This is horrible, Pony yelled, with a lot of the students hoping/praying Ibra that this never comes to pass in their world. They then arrive back at the base shown earlier, now on the rooftops as they all look to the city. A lot's gonna change when the sun rises, the hooded figure said too. Yeah, you right about by big bro, Eri said coming up. Eri, glad to see you, I took care of that girl for you, the hooded figure said. Thanks bro, but this is just the start, right? Eri said sitting down next to him. Yeah, in just a few minutes things are gonna get real. We will hunt down all that have wronged you and our people. Only then will we deal with mine and after. Change this world for all of us. For all worlds, no matter how peaceful and pure, all worlds are born from bloodshed, the hooded figure stated. 13 This is insane. Especially with what they turned Eri into. The heroes have to have something they can do. I mean, it's our job to stop people like this, Denki stated. Yeah, the heroes will crush these unmanly villains for what they did. The manly duo stated. 4 Seriously, the curl tactics and method they've shown proves they're just cowards and tyrants, Kendo added. 7 Hey bro, how about you take off your hood and mask before everything starts? Eri asks. Sure, why not, it's just you here, the hooded figure said, removing his hood and mask revealing green hair, 𝗵𝗃𝗁. Everyone said shocked. That Izuku was the one that had done all they'd just seen. Inko passed out from this with Mitsuki and Rei trying to wake her up too, while Izuku just started, shocked that there is a version of him that would do this until he felt someone hug his side. It's not you papa, you're a hero, Eri said, hugging Izuku, crying a little too. Izuku smiled a bit, hugged back. Looks like it time, bro, if you'd please. Eri asks, of course, presses a button there and now it begins. Izuku said. They look down and see thousands of robotic soldiers slowly walking to the city, shooting anything that moves. Holy cow, I know what they're doing is horrible, but blueprints, give me please. Mei yells, going to Lost 3. Same here sir, I would like to see something like that. Melissa also asked, sorry but no, I don't feel like being responsible for your world being overrun with robots, Lost stated. They're just killing innocent people, All Might said, with everyone else being just a disturbed. This is just the beginning, no Bakugo. Just you wait, once this is over I will make you suffer as I did, and All Might, I will prove you're wrong and make you watch this corrupt world burn and have you know that it was done by a quirkless kid, Izuku stated, looking out as his robot army reached the city. As the screen darkens, wait a sec. I get that Bakugo and Midobro don't get along, but still this is way too far, Kirishima said, standing for his friend too. Maybe my hunch was right after all about those two have more than just a disliking to each other, Aizawa thought. 8 Guys, wait. Remember, it's a different world. Maybe things between us were different than here, Izuku responded, yet it was strange that he didn't stutter and just how quickly he responded. 5 So what did you guys think? Lost asked plus. It was scary, Mina said with the girls agreeing, a bit far-fetched. Midoriya would never do something like that. Hilda stated 10. Lost. Can you give us some background about this world? Nizu asked along with the pros. Takes a breath. Izuku ever since he was 4, was bullied constantly because he wanted to be a hero like All Might even though he was quirkless. No one ever cared a bit for him except for his mom, but she died to a villain's attack because no heroes tried to save her in time. The same day All Might said that he couldn't be a hero, Lost explained, shocking everyone. Now the real show begins. Lost thought after a bit of time, letting everyone get their head back on the ground. Well, everyone, I apologize for that sudden shock. But does anyone have any more questions? Lost asks, to which pretty much everyone raised their hand. I should have expected that. No matter, when I call one you get up and ask your question, but all of you please just don't lose your minds when you hear the answer. Lost asks, to which they agree. First, how about you, Nizu sir? Lost states, thank you. Now Lost, based on the fact that 2 out of the 3 universes that you've shown us have young Midoriya have a very rough childhood. I'd like to ask if this is a recurring theme within our dimension. Nizu asks, getting to the main question everyone had. Yes, aside from the universes that show the opposite whispers and ones that have it in a different form, whispers to which there are not that many compared to the rest. Izuku Midoriya is bullied to very high degrees for one of 3 reasons. Either 1 because he's quirkless, 2 because the quirk he gets is weak or considered worthless, or 3 the quirk he gets is considered a villainous quirk. Lost states 4. Shinso flinched at that last reason since he went through similar things. Everyone else was shocked at this revelation, with all the pros that had met Izuku were angered that people bullied someone like Izuku for something like that. Has this also happened to our Midoriya? Nizu asks, making Izuku and Katsuki flinch a bit. Only Aizawa saw this since he was keeping an eye on them, since he also noticed how much more afraid Izuku had been acting since they got here. Sorry, sir, but 1 question per person, Lost states as he then picks Aizawa. Same thing, Principal. Nizu asked, has this theme happened to Problem Child? Aizawa asked, oh, this is gonna hit them hard. Lost thought 7. Yes, this has happened to your worlds, Izuku. Like the universe you just saw, ever since he was 4 and diagnosed quirkless, he was bullied constantly for still wanting to be a hero. Lost admits, good thing there Izuku isn't one where he was neglected or abandoned. Lost thought 22. There was an eerie silence that fell across the theater, as everyone looked to Izuku, who was frozen in place, unwilling to look back at them. Most didn't want to believe it, but the more they thought about it, the more it made sense. The stuttering, always on edge, the self-doubt, lack of socializing skills, the look of fear, and how quickly he'd apologize after rambling something, as if thinking he angered the person, with the 𝗕𝗂𝗁 squad feeling the most horrible. Izuku had helped each of them when they needed it most, yet they never once thought or wondered about their friend's past. Did anyone help Deku-kun? Uraraka asked, about to cry her eyes out. I didn't call on you, but no one wanted to help the disease of a quirkless Deku. Lost stated in an angered tone. 11. The teachers, neighbors, classmates, and his so-called friends turned their back on him the second they knew the truth of what he was. They'd either bully him, spread rumors about him, or just ignore him. Hell, even some pro-heroes said to him that he couldn't be a hero. There were some that even went as far to almost demand for Izuku to kill himself. Lost stated, eyeing Katsuki, as everyone stood them with a few tears coming out of everyone's eyes. 3. They know the truth. Now that they do, will they do what they did? Will they stop talking to me? Will they hurt me like they did? Izuku thought as he curled into a ball. 15. Bakugo. You were a part of it, weren't you? You bullied him, didn't you? Uraraka stated, with many of girls coming to that conclusion as well, and they were all ready to pounce on him. 8. Wait a sec, Uraraka. We can't just assume something like that. Maybe Bakugo just ignored him. Sure, they don't have the best relationship with each other, but still, Kirishima said with some hope. He was right in his voice. 14. Think about it, Kirishima, Jiro said, standing up from her seat. The way he attacked Midoriya on the first day, how he used that move that would have killed Midoriya without hesitation. Jiro said. 16. Correct. And who's the person that scares Midoriya the most? Bakugo. Who the one that insults Midoriya the most? Bakugo. Who's the one that attacks Midoriya the most? Bakugo. Who the one that always says they're better than Midoriya? Bakugo. Who calls Midoriya Deku as an insult? Bakugo. The list goes on and on. Kirishima I thinks it's very clear that Bakugo did more than just ignore Midoriya. Momo added, glaring at 𝗓𝗂𝘁𝗵𝗲, guys come on, let's at least hear Bakugo's side of the story. Maybe he just shouted at Midobro. Kirishima asked 21. Well, then let's see, 𝗕𝗬𝗓 said, rising up her hand. This surprised a lot of people, with her change in tone being completely serious compared to her normal bubbly and airhead-like nature too. Lost. Was Katsuki Bakugo one of Midoriya's bullies? 𝗕𝗬𝗓 asks with a very small blush, since she almost called him by his first name, but regardless had an angry look in her eyes along with the girls. 4. Not only was Katsuki one of Midoriya's bullies, actually tormentor is a more accurate term, he was the first and main person that did all that to him. Lost states 10. The whole room went quiet, yet you could feel the cold aura around everyone, all being focused towards Bakugo. 6. Then suddenly they see a wave of ice shoot under Bakugo covering his lower body, and then they all heard a loud smack. They look in Shoto, and what was more surprising, Shoto's mother Rei both punch Bakugo, with Kirishima and Ilda behind them. 6. You dare do something like that to a person like Midoriya? After all the good he's done for all of us. Shoto yelled, being held by Kirishima. 12. Indeed, what has Izuku ever done to you other than support you? Rei stated. 25. Todoroki and Mrs. Todoroki, stop please. As much as I very much agree that he deserves that and more, it not worth it. Leave it to the teachers to handle this, Ilda said, clearly doing his best to not join them and knock a few teeth out of Bakugo's mouth. Rei, why did you? Endeavor said, but was cut off. 1. After the sports festival Izuku brought Shoto to see me, and since then Izuku started to visit me a lot to talk, Rei stated, with Shoto then clarified that it was true. He even started to call me Andy. Rei thought. 1. As for Katsuki, after getting back up and back in his seat, he now could feel all the glares of anger toward him, and then took notice of his mother and his aunt, and seeing the amount of pain and sorrow emanating off their bodies, now having learned the truth along with the disapproval look of his teachers for the first time, Katsuki felt alone. 44. Lost. I believe we need to have a discussion. Can you make a room for us? Nizu asked with his smile gone. 5. Sure, here, Lost said, making a door appear in the back. Thank you. Now All Might, Aizawa, Mrs. Midoriya, Mr. and Mrs. Bakugo, young Midoriya and young Bakugo, please follow me to this room Lost created, Nizu said as all the people Nizu called got up and headed over. With Izuku being the last to come over, everyone looked on at Izuku with sorrow, seeing Izuku look so scared and blank, with all the girls wanting to just go and hug him. 5. Now then, does anyone have any more questions? Lost asked, since there were still quite a few more people that had unanswered questions. He looked and pointed to Melissa. You said that he was bullied because he was quirkless, but all of us have seen him as a quirk, and a very powerful one at that. So going off that, I'd like to ask how people mistook Midoriya as quirkless. Melissa asked, no, they didn't mistake him as quirkless. Izuku really was quirkless up until the day of the UA entrance exam, Lost stated. But before he could continue, All Might came back from the room with a worried expression on his face. Lost, you can't tell them this secret. You know the reason why, All Might stated. Sorry, All Might, but I'm telling them. 1. The villains they've been facing's leader knows it. 2. Is that you spend a lot of time on Izuku, so I assume some of his classmates have started to catch on about it. 3. They very likely going to find out through seeing these universes. And 4 is to explain who Nana is. Since I know all of you want to know who this person is, Lost explains, to which Nana agrees with 4. All Might stood there for a sec before giving a slow nod. Thank you. Now everyone, Izuku's quirk is know as one for all. A brief explanation is that it's Q quirk that can be transferred from one person to another and gets exponentially stronger each time it's passed to the next user. All Might is the 8th user of the quirk, with Nana being the 7th, and with that information I think you guys can figure out the rest. Lost explains, making everyone again go silent in shock, now learning that Izuku was All Might's successor. All Might, Aizawa said, a bit angry and annoyed. Why's Aizawa? All Might replied, a bit nervous. For God's sakes, you should have told me about this. I almost expelled him on the first day. Aizawa stated. 5. Wait, but I thought you said that was a logical deception. Mineta said, scared for what his teacher will say. Nope, what Mississippi joke and Nizu said earlier was not a joke. The year before, Aizawa did expel a whole class. There were only 2 reasons why he didn't with you class. 1 is because you all showed a small amount of potential, and the second and main reason is because of Izuku. stated 1. This made Class 1A be stunned that they could have all been expelled on the first day and made them feel even more bad knowing that, again, Izuku had inadvertently saved their dream of being heroes and they never truly showed appreciation to him. 12. That's enough, you two. Please come back here. We have more pressing matters to address, 𝗫𝗠 said, poking his head out the door, making the two heroes come back. Well, I think that's enough question from all of you. Unfortunately, there's a matter I need to address. Again, I'll give this remote to one of you. Lost stated as a bunch of paper appeared in front of him and spun around. The one that'll have the remote is grabs paper. 𝗧𝗵𝗲, Lost said with a deadpan tone. 2. 𝗕𝗁𝗧𝗟. 𝗵𝗃 yelled with all the girls just say why world, so that you don't mentally scar the kids. I'm sending them to a playroom, Lost said, making a door appear, and when opened Eri and Koda with the WWPC to watch, went through. Well, see you guys in a bit, and 𝗵𝗃 be caution, cause me and the other 3 are watching, Lost said, opening a portal. 1. Now I wonder if 𝗕𝗁𝗁 can give me an actually good fight. And I hope 𝗵𝗃 doesn't show a weird universe to them, Lost thought, going through the portal. 3. Meanwhile with the others plus. Now you two, I think it's now time you tell us what happened between you two, 𝗫𝗠 stated. The room Lost created for them was quiet with everyone waiting on Izuku or Katsuki to respond. I'll ask you two again, would one of care to explain this new truth Lost gave us? 𝗫𝗠 restated. 1. Izuku was shifting around in his seat, unwilling to look at anyone, while Katsuki was frozen solid, staring at the table. As Katsuki parents, they were in disbelief. Sure, they knew that their kid was rash and bombastic, but they never expected him to go as low to bully others. 13. If you two don't want to say it, I can either find it myself with some digging or I can simply ask the guiders to show it to me. Understand that we are here to shed some light on what happened between you two and to understand your motives of why that happened, 𝗫𝗠 stated. Izuku, my baby, please. 𝗳𝗁𝗁 said, make Izuku jump a bit. He looked and saw the one thing he never wanted to have happen, his mother crying because of him. Her eyes pouring out the feels of sadness, sorrow and regret. Seeing this made Izuku even more sad, for he never wanted others to have to suffer because of his choices, especially his own mother, yet it seemed like he couldn't even do that right. Izuku said, but couldn't respond, being too filled with shame and regret for making his own mother cry. What he said is true, Katsuki said suddenly and for the first time completely calm. Then would you please elaborate further, young Bakugo? 𝗫𝗠 said, practically demanding he does. When we turned 4 I got my quirk while Izuku was deemed quirkless. The whole class and the adults all praised me, saying how I'd become an amazing hero in the future and was destined to be great, while they all completely ignored Izuku. A few days later we are at a park near home. Me, the nerd, and some friends in our neighborhood decide for follow me deeper into the park. We went over an old log bridge and I fell over. I was fine since it wasn't that high up and it was over a small stream. Then the nerd just had to come and help me, come and look down on me like I need help from some weakling. I pushed him away. After that everything changed for the worst, Katsuki explained. 14. And how did things change, young Bakugo? All Might asked Katsuki, then explained how people changed their approach towards Izuku, how anytime Izuku got in his way, he'd bully him. 25. How teachers would ignore his cry for help and some even encouraged for students to hurt him. 11. How adults that knew he was quirkless did much the same and how everyone started to call him Deku, meaning worthless. As for Izuku, during this look down in shame, he never wanted anyone to know about how he was treated, since, at least what he believed was, it was his problem not theirs, and as such he should be able to handle and deal with it without dragging others into his own problems. 13. But above all he was just scared that if this new group of friends and even family knew about his past, which they now do. 3. He was scared that if they do the same thing they all did to him, turn their backs on him and force him to relive the pain of being alone, being ignored, being known as worthless. 7. 𝗵𝗃 wasn't doing any better, crying ever since Lost told them the truth. She felt like she failed as a mother, not being able to see that something was happening to her baby boy for so long. 2. She believed him whenever he said he was fine. Even when she called the school about Izuku, they too also said that nothing was wrong and that it was just boys being boys and that they'd deal with it appropriately, by ignoring it. 1. Then add in all the amount of support Izuku gave to her throughout his life by being there for her and comforting her whenever she felt alone and making time for her whenever he could. 𝗵𝗃 felt like a horrible mother, since even thought Izuku always knew how to comfort her, The one time her baby needed her support the most, she failed. I've failed being a mother to my baby. He was always there for me, yet when the time came for me to really be there for him, I said the wrong thing, Inko thought, but before she could think any more negative things, Izuku went and hugged her and gave her the best smile he could muster up. 25 Inko always knew that Izuku would do everything to make sure she'd be fine, but this time all his efforts weren't enough to stop the pain. There is one last thing you're leaving out, isn't there, young Bakugo? 𝗫𝗍 said, referring to the last bit Lost said people did to Izuku, making the two of them freeze until Katsuki stood up. During the end of middle school, two told the nerd to. Katsuki said, but was cut off with Izuku standing up. Isn't this enough, sir? All of you practically know what happened between the two of us. Please, can we just not bring it up? I just want to move on. I don't want to be hurt again, Izuku stated, now fully crying. 15. He never wanted to have to remember all the things that happened to him growing up, all the pain and doubt people gave him. And he knew full well that what Katsuki said to him that day was wrong. But he still didn't want to be responsible for ending someone else's dream. 5. Besides, no one is better than Kaken. He will be the next number one, or at least that's what Izuku tells himself. 10. Well then, after that I assume the last thing Lost mentioned to us, you were the one that said it. Now let us discuss what happens next, shall we? 𝗫𝗍 said. Wait a sec, sir, Izuku said, catching everyone's attention. Before you decide, sir, look at how much Kaken has changed being here in UA. Kaken treats our class as people, not extras. Kaken doesn't even try anything on me since the first day here. It proves that Kaken is changing and improving. I know Kaken will be a great hero someday, so please give him a chance, Izuku requested, bowing to 𝗫𝗍. 30. This minus 𝗫𝗍 shocked everyone for good reason. This kid was defending his tormentor. Why? Katsuki said, making everyone turn to him. Why, you dim nerd? Why are you sticking your neck out so much for me? I bullied you, hurt you, hell, I was pretty much a villain to you. Yet here you are standing up for me. You should be rejoicing for me to be punished, right? Katsuki stated. 10. Or is this just some other way for you to be able to look down on me? Putting me in your debt, Katsuki thought. 9. It's because you look like you need help, Izuku said with a small smile. 10. This stunned Katsuki until he realized that this was the same thing that Izuku had said to him that day during the sludge villain and on the log bridge when they were kids. So even from then to now, he still is trying to find ways to look down on me by helping and trying to put me in his debt, Katsuki thought, remembering how each and every time Izuku was beaten and ignored by everyone, how he'd always do everything he could to push though, and how whenever Izuku helped him he always said the same thing, that it looked like he needed help. 23. The points you've stated, young Midoriya, are the exact reason why I'm not expelling him, 𝗫𝗍 said, shocking everyone too. 𝗫𝗍, sir, just what are you getting at? Aizawa asked, while Calm made it very clear that he disagreed with 𝗫𝗍's decision via tensing up his body and activating his quirk. 9. Let me explain, Aizawa. Young Bakugo will remain a student here in UA. However, if he tries to do anything similar to what he did to any of the students, especially young Midoriya, then he'll have a lot more to deal with than just expulsion. Is that understood, young Bakugo? 𝗫𝗍 stated, making some of the people in the room shake a bit. 5. Yes, sir, Katsuki responded with no amount of power in his voice. Now, Aizawa, I understand your opposition, but we can't forget that the system of the world is also to blame for this. Not only did they allow for bullying to a degree this high to happen to some they deemed inferior, but they encouraged it, as stated by Lost. What this shows is that there are quite a few schools that are allowing this kind of suffering to happen to their students. As a principal myself, I can't allow this to continue, 𝗫𝗍 said. 9. Bakugo, understand that if this was my decision I would have you expelled, but 𝗫𝗍 has brought reasonable reasons along with Midoriya, but know this, Aizawa stated, leaning over to Katsuki. If you do anything remotely close to bullying to anyone here in UA, I will personally drag you over to a police station so you can face the repercussions of what you did to Midoriya. Understood? Aizawa said in a sharp tone. 1. Yes, sir, Katsuki replied, feeling those words punch through his soul. As for you, punishment, out of consideration for Midoriya, 2-week house arrest, 4-page report on quirk law, training drills with me, and you will attend counseling with Hound Dog. Last is a weekly repot meeting with me and 𝗫𝗍 to see what you're doing. If you show no sign of change or improvement, you're out of UA. Is that clear? Aizawa said, daring for Katsuki to argue back. 12. Katsuki simply nods, grateful that he can still be a hero and stay in UA. Excellent. Now it seems that our presence isn't needed here anymore, for I believe your parents would like to have a word with you too. The three of us will head back in so you can have some time. Once you're all done, please come back into the theater. Nizu states as him and the pro heroes all head out of the room. It was silent for a few seconds with Izuku and Katsuki's parents just staring off into oblivion, gathering their thoughts. Izuku, I'm sorry, Mitsuki said, breaking the ice and bowing. If I knew Abu, no, who am I kidding? I should have known about this. Katsuki always had been aggressive towards you. When you started to stop coming over to our house, that's when I should have started to see. Izuku, I'm sorry for bringing sure a terrible aunt to you, Mitsuki stated, shedding a few tears. 6, that goes for me to Bud. I'm sorry, I should have actually done something to try and curve his ego. I'm sorry for being such a failure of an uncle towards you, Maru added, bowing. And no, wait. Please raise your heads. I've never blamed either of you for what happened. Other than my mom, you two were the only ones that ever showed you cared, and I stopped coming over cause I was training for you. Neither of you have ever failed me, and I am and always will be happy to have you two as my aunt and uncle, Izuku explained to them. This in turn made Mitsuki and Masaru both crack a small smile as the two of them hugged Izuku. 1, Katsuki, Inko said in a stern tone, which caught everyone's attention, seeing this was the first time any of them had heard Inko sound like that. With Katsuki unwilling to look at her. 5, Katsuki Bakugo. Look at me, Inko demanded. Katsuki slowly looked up to face Inko, and when he saw her face he froze. The normally happy, warm loving gaze and smile Inko gave to anyone, now replaced with a cold, scary gaze. 13, you bullied my son, my one and only family I have left. For over 10 years you did this, and all of what? 'Cause he lacked a quirk. Something we all don't have control over. My baby was your best friend, either that or you brother, and yet despite all that you did this to him, Inko stated. Onaida, Katsuki said but was cut off. 3, I think we both know that you don't have the right to call me that anymore, Inko said, which hurt Katsuki more than he wanted to admit. Mrs. Midoriya, I know I could never ask for you forgiveness for what I did, I have no excuse, but know that I never wanted to hurt you, Katsuki said, bowing. 4, hurt me. The moment you hurt my son, my one and only baby boy, is the moment you hurt me in the worst way possible, Inko said. 4, now, Mitsuki, I'd like to have a private talk with my son, if that's all right, Inko asked. Of course, Inko. Besides, I think me and Masaru also need to have a talk with Katsuki as well, Mitsuki said, with Masaru and Katsuki following her out of the room, leaving the two greenies alone to talk. Izuku said but was cut off. I'm so sorry, my baby, Inko stated. I've failed as your mother. It was so abundantly clear that there was something happening, and yet I never took action to find out, and I never gave you the support you needed. Ever since that day I said the wrong thing. You always knew what to say when I needed your help, but when it was my turn to I failed to say what you needed me to say. Izuku, I'm sorry, Inko said, practically crying. No, please mom, you're wrong, you never failed me. You were the light in my life. You were the one that always was there and cared for me. You were the one that kept me going and kept me together with all the love and care you showed me. Please don't apologize, Mom. If anything, I'm sorry for not telling you and making you go through all this pain because of me. You had to go through so much. I always supported you so much growing up because I was scared that if I didn't one day you'd abandon me, because without you I would've, Izuku said, and stopped not wanting to say it when he was suddenly hugged by Inko. 3, Izuku, my baby, I'd never abandon you. You are the most important person in my life, and no matter what happens I will always support you. That day when you asked me if you could still be a hero, I failed you. I know it's been so long since then, but Izuku, you can be a hero, with or without a quirk. You have the brains, the will, and above all else the heart of a true hero. For a true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength but by the strength of his heart, Inko said, finally cracking the barrier Izuku had built ever since the day he was announced quirkless, and Izuku cried for about 5 minutes. 32. It's all I ever. Sniffle wanted you to say sniffle. Thank you, Izuku said, crying. After a bit Izuku calmed down, still though his eyes were red and he had clear tear marks down his cheeks. Let's head back to the theater before they start to worry, sweetie, Inko said, trying to rub off the tear marks a little. Izuku nodded and the two of them headed to the door, happy knowing that they had each other no matter what. Yet when they opened the door, what they saw was a bit surprising. First, they saw that Mineta appeared to be out cold, Eri crying a little, being held by Nijire and Ray. But mainly they saw Aizawa holding the pro's death arms, Mount Lady, Backdraft and Kamui Woods with his scarf with both Mississippi Joke and Present Mike trying to calm him down. And lastly both Class 1A and 1B arguing, guys what's going on? Izuku asked out 6 right as he said that the whole room went silent and everyone turned and stared at him, then his whole class rushed over to him, Midoriya/Midori/Deku/𝗵𝗃𝗲. His classmates all called out going to him. Izuku being the person he is, having all this attention suddenly put on him, turned him into the stuttering mess. Gee guys. What's going on? Izuku blurted out, well, it's a long story sweetheart, Rei said as Nizu pulled Aizawa, All Might and the 2 families into the room. Everyone else couldn't get Izuku's expression out of their heads, it being the first time they'd seen Izuku look that sad and scared. I can't believe, after all this time none of us ever noticed how much Deku-kun was hurting. Uraraka stated with the look of shame on her face. The main people that Izuku had helped as well felt the same, that despite all the kind acts that Izuku and shown them, after saving each of them from villains and from themselves, they felt that they failed as his closest friends. You know, it's astounding just how all of you never took notice about him, Monama stated, but instead of his well-known smirk, he had a completely serious face. Monama, could you not do this right now? Kendo said to sad about Izuku to knock Monama out. No, Kendo, this time I'm serious. This isn't our class's rivalry or anything like that, no. Don't you think it's a bit ridiculous that they spent pretty much every day with him and they never thought or even questioned this stuff? I say we have Midoriya come here in Class 1B, Monama states with a completely serious tone. 11 With this, everyone was completely baffled by Monama. Despite having an ego that rivals Bakugo's, it seemed that he did have a modicum of respect for Midoriya. Right away all of Class 1, mainly the girls, all wanted to protest this, but they couldn't really deny Monama reasoning since no matter how you look at it he was right. You know, never thought I say this but I agree with Monama on this. Let's bring the greenie to our class. We'll keep him safe from that explosive maniac, Setsuna said with most of the girls Form 1B agreeing. What? No way. You're not taking away our Deku-kun. Uraraka yelled, being backed by her whole class. While more and more of 1B started to agree with Monama since they have heard quite a lot of things that have happened between the two of them, such as their fight during combat training, how Bakugo acted when they fought All Might, how Bakugo went to attack Midoriya on the first day, and most recently, how the two of them fought each other after the licensing exam. Yeah, think about it you guys, it'd be a terrible idea to keep the two of them in the same class. Midoriya should join us. We can and will protect him. It's the manly thing to do, Tetsutsu stated. I'd have to agree with my class. It's pretty clear that keeping those two together would just cause further problems and likely cause more pain for Midoriya. For the sake of maintaining both Midoriya's physicals and mental safety, I'd allow for Midoriya to join our class, Vlad King stated. If the problem is Midori and Bakugo being in the same class, then how about you guys take Bakugo? Mina said, even how about putting Bakugo into the general studies course? Momo added, 1. Bakugo and Monama in the same class. No way are we going to deal with that for 3 years. Second, I don't think the teachers could put Bakugo into the general studies due to his grades, and while I don't want to say it, Bakugo is a skilled student, Kendo said. 1. Plus I don't want me and the girls in my class be responsible for Bakugo's murder, Kendo thought. 9. Guys, you're forgetting something. Mineta yelled, catching everyone's attention. 1. I got the remote, Mineta said with a smug way to ruin the mood there. Bud hearing this made all the girls groan with annoyance. 12. And to think that Lost could lock away what I'd like to see, Mineta said as he started to put in the girls' names into the remote. The remote is like a touch screen that will display groups of universes that relate to whatever button you press or whatever you type in. Bet he thought I was stupid. Now to begin, let's start with Yamomo, the hottest girl in our class, Mineta said, selecting a universe with Lost. See, guess he gets smarter when girls are involved. Guys, can any of you stop him? I'm busy fighting Shinnok and the Nether Realm, Lost asked through a dimensional intercom, while in the middle of a battle against the Nether Realm. 5. Sorry, can't. Helping survivors take back Moscow from the undead with a nerve gas, Shadow said. 2. Can't. Helping the resistance fight off the Greater German Reich and the Japanese Pacific States, Shade said. 1. I can't. Also takes a breath. I've taken Dream's place in a manhunt, Fade said. while in the background they all heard 𝗬𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 looked to the screen and saw, reward for the #1 hero, 𝗵𝗃𝗲. If this is what you're implying, then this is highly inappropriate. 𝗧𝗪𝗏 stated, doing the robot, while 𝗵𝗃𝗲 just ignored it and kept watching. Congrats Aizu, you finally became the #1 hero. A very tall woman with black hair and a very well-developed body. After a closer look they all saw it was Momo, about 7 or so years older one. Oh man, and I thought Momo was a bae now. 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said, drooling at the sight. 3. Wait, Momo, did you just call Midori Aizu? Mina asked with a hint of jealousy, with the other girls also giving a slight glare at Momo too. That's not me, remember, and besides maybe me and Midoriya are just close friends. Momo said, her face completely red. Dekuverse, the #1 hero in this, 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏 stated with a smile that her friend accomplished his dream. Thanks a lot Momo. I couldn't have done all this without you, said a fairly deep voice. They saw a man a bit taller than Momo, powerful build, short green hair and emerald eyes. With this person immediately being recognized as Izuku, seeing this made all the girls blush quite a bit. Seeing an older Izuku, wow, even when he looks that hot, Midori still looks so adorable. Mina squealed, which made the girls feel a sharp hit to their hearts hearing that, and a new feeling jealousy. Izuku then goes up to Momo and suddenly lifts her up and spins her around. At first this startled Momo, but after a few seconds it changed to joy as she started to laugh, hugging Izuku. All the girls looked to Momo with the same thing in mind. Just friends. Really? They all said, why yeah, really good friends, Momo stated, her face turning more red than Kirishima's hair. 8. Izuku then put he down, and after looking at her a few seconds he hugged her. He couldn't help it, her soft body was the best things to squeeze, like hugging an actual marshmallow. Chuckles Aiza, calm down. Geez, you're such a hugger, Momo teased, making Izuku let go and turning his face red. He even still has his shy demeanor. And you Momo, really, just friends? Mina stated, leaning in on Momo, who just covered her face. Sorry Momo, it just every time I see you I get scared that you could disappear if I let go, since I always think, what did I do to deserve you? 'Cause you're the best thing that's ever happened in my life. Izuku states this made Momo blush and be at a loss for words. Sure, she had come to terms with her feeling for Izuku a while ago, but no matter what, Izuku always just inadvertently knew how to tug on her heartstrings. That, and well, I wish you didn't downplay your judgment. You were born with an amazing quirk. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Yes, you were born into a rich family, but still all the training and study was all you know. What else? You're an amazing strategist and a natural leader, Izuku stated. Does our Izuku really think about me like that? Momo thought, with a sudden change in her facial expression that didn't go unnoticed by the girls. 14. Well, I'll stop that when you see what I see in you, Aizu. You say you a Deku, yet you've inspired millions across not just Japan but the world, and now you're the #1 hero. You always say you don't deserve the kindness our friends have shown you, yet they believe the opposite, and you say you don't deserve me, but here I am and I'd never leave you, Momo states, giving off Izuku's wholesome smile. Hearing this made Izuku start to tear up a bit, to which wiped away his tears. Thanks Momo, and I'm sorry, I promise I'll stop thinking like this. Well, I'll try at least. Izuku said, make he two of them laugh a bit, until Izuku noticed Mom's face turn red suddenly. No, since you're now #1 and no one gonna be here for a while, so, Momo said with a massive blush. It took a second for Izuku to figure out what she was implying, but when he did, his face turned red. 3. The girls in 1A and 1B along with a few others were quiet, but some of them had a small scowl on their face seeing this, while some of the boys were cheering for Midoriya. As for 𝗵𝗃𝗏, he was being a bit too vocal with how jealous he felt, until Tsuyu smacked him with her tongue before he could saying anything too bad about her friends too yet. As for 𝗧𝗪𝗏, he was giving a lecture to Momo about how shameless that act was and how an act like that is something a married couple can do. Momo's response was of course her covering her face and having some steam come off her head. 1. Izuku then picked up Momo by style. Momo, let's go to your room, Izuku stuttered out, carrying Momo to their room. 2. Finally. The moment I've been waiting to see. 𝗵𝗃𝗏 yells with excitement. 4. But right as Izuku and Momo enter the room, the screen cuts off. What? 𝗵𝗃𝗏 yelled, crying. Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen, plus there are kids here. Lost says through a portal next to 𝗵𝗃𝗏. as both Eri and 𝗬𝗬 had come back with the WWPC. What are you two even doing here? Because of you two I couldn't. See, Mineta for some reason yells at Eri and 𝗬𝗬, blaming them instead of Lost, which made 𝗬𝗬 grip Mandalay's side and Eri to freeze and start to cry a little. 22. Then suddenly 3 more portals opened in front of Eri and a yellow energy spiral shot at Mineta. Do not yell at them. Lost, Shade, Fade and Shadow all said in a stern tone and giving off a scary aura too. Yeah, don't you dare yell at my little snowball. 𝗕𝗓𝗓 yelled, picking up Eri. 1 Shade, Fade and Shadow's portal close since they still are busy with what they were doing. Sorry I can't talk long, still have things to deal with. Just here snaps his fingers that should start another universe. Lost said as the portal started to close, but right before it did they all see Lost get grabbed by giant skeleton hands and then get slapped by Shinnok. Too needless to say that everyone was a bit confused about that whole ordeal, but nonetheless they all turned their eyes to the screen. Origin of Izuku. Midoriya 17, Origin. So we're gonna see Midoriya's past, Melissa said. Most of the people in the theater were a bit scared to see this. Why are you being so mean, Kaken? You beat him already. A young Izuku said, standing in front of another kid that had been knocked down. 3 Izuku then went into a semi-fighting stance. If you keep hurting him, I'll stop you myself, Izuku said, clearly scared but unwilling to back down. Even when he was that young, he still had the heart of a hero, Ryukyu stated. This is hard to watch, it's so horrible. Pony stated while Ibra was giving a prayer for Izuku's safety. 𝗧𝗬𝗁, really you want to try and be a hero for the runt? As if Deku, a young Katsuki said, making small explosions in his hands with 2 others behind him. You don't stand a chance, Deku. Katsuki yelled as him and the other 2 rushed him. Then we see Izuku a few minutes later, beaten and bruised, laying and staring up into the sky while in the background adults are just looking and ignoring him. Ryukyu bit the side of her cheek softly to keep her composure. She never liked seeing kind and innocent people being hurt, especially if it's a kid. 3. This is terrible. Why aren't the adults there at least going to check on him? Kendo stated while all the other girls were much the same, angry and also sad seeing this. All they wished for now was that they were there so they could support Midoriya. This is what Izuku went through growing up. Just cause he was quirkless, Melissa thought, feeling guilty since, like Izuku, she was also born quirkless, yet her childhood, while a bit rough, her childhood looked like a life of luxury compared to Izuku's. 3. All men are not created equal. That was the truth I learned about the world when I was 4. Izuku narrated. 2. Then the screen stated 9 years later they all see Izuku now about 14 running through Tetsuin Station looking up into the sky. Even if that's true, I won't let that hold me back. I just have to train harder than anyone. Izuku said to himself, the kid's got drive, I'll give him that, but drive can't pull you through everything. Rumi Miruko stated. 6. If society really has gotten as worst as we just saw, then the odds are really stacked against him, Ryukyu stated, not wanting to but agreed with her closest friend. 6. The screen then shows Izuku watching the hero 𝗬𝗵𝗲 fighting a villain. Hayes, look at that, it's our debut, Mount Lady stated. The debut that you stole, 𝗬𝗵𝗲 thought right when 𝗬𝗵𝗲 is about finish off the villain. Mount Lady appears and flying kicks the villain, and after finishing off the villain she poses her but for the camera. Why? Midoriya got to see that in person. Mineta yelled before getting stabbed by 𝗔𝗫𝗓 with her jack. My god, could you not be a pervert? For just 5 minutes, 𝗔𝗫𝗓 asked annoyed. 10. A gigantification quirk. Well, due to her size and the way she used her quirk, it could and can cause a lot of structural damage. That, and just because you're giant doesn't mean that your bodies will suddenly be as strong as steel. Izuku stated, writing out a full page analyzing everything he could assume about Mount Lady's quirk. 2. Seems like someone wasn't very captivated with your poor little show, Midnight stated to Mount Lady's annoyance. Be quiet, and you see that he wrote 𝗧𝗓𝗏 in the page her wrote on me, Mount Lady stated back, making the 2 heroes make lighting appear between them. 1. You see how quick Deku analyzed her quirk, and how detailed that page on her looked. Uraraka stated, but along with the rest of the girls, didn't overlook the fact that Izuku put the word 𝗧𝗓𝗏 on the page. Wonder if Midori has something like that about all of us. Mina said, making the girls blush a little with the thought of Izuku analyzing them. He's kinda like me when it comes to analyzing, Melissa said. 3. The screen then jumps to Izuku coming into class with everyone ignoring him and Izuku looking very on edge, looking every which way but look meeting anyone's eyes. Well, it seemed that we've made it in time to see young Midoriya's school life before you, Nizu said as Aizawa, All Might and the Bakugos came out from the room Lost made for them. Where's Deku-kun? Uraraka asked along with the girls. Him and his mother are discussing in private. Now please, when they return, do not ask what they discussed. Doing so may just hurt young Midoriya even more. Nizu stated. This made all of them a bit disappointed, but they completely understood since the last thing any of them wanted to do was cause Izuku more pain. He looks so afraid, Mandalay said, feeling bad for Izuku. Alright everyone. Settle down now, the next chapter of your lives are coming up pretty soon and you all need to choose what school and profession you all want to do, but who am I? Kidding, you all want to be heroes. Their teacher announced. That is probably the most unprofessional teacher I've ever seen, Aizawa stated. 24. With that announcement, all the students in the class minus Katsuki and Izuku all stared, flashing out their quirks, with Katsuki just giving an annoyed look to the class and Izuku being quiet and trying to keep a low profile. Those students are violating quirk law and school rule, using their quirks like that. Hilda yelled, with some of the pros agreeing with him, but overall they ignored it. For Oi teach, don't lump me in with the rest of these extras. They'd be lucky if they made the D-list hero sidekicks, Katsuki stated, which made some of the students complain until Katsuki made an explosion in his hands as a threat. 3. Oh yes, of course, you're applying to Bakugo, the teacher stated with a complete change in tone. What? No way, UA has a 0.2% acceptance rate, right? One of the students asked. Yeah, about that. Just why the hell is UA that much of a big deal? I didn't go to UA and yet here I am. The number 5 hero, Rumi asked, a bit bored but still focusing on Izuku. Well, it has to do with our free and relaxed policies we use for both our teachers and the students, among other things that you'd likely get too bored to hear, Nizu stated. That's right. UA's the one and only place worthy of having me. I aced all the mock exams. I'll become the next number 1 hero and be more powerful and popular than even All Might, Katsuki stated. Oh, smirks Midoriya, you also applied for UA as well. The teacher intentionally states 9 as he said that. The whole class looked over to Izuku and began to laugh, making Izuku slightly curl up a bit in his seat. The hell is that teacher trying to do? Rumi stated. While she never would admit it, she hated seeing innocent people be forced into these kind of positions like that. Is this really how the world treats the quirkless? Melissa thought. 8. So this is what Lost and young Bakugo meant by, they encouraged people to bully young Midoriya? Nizu thought. Deku. Katsuki yelled, slamming his hand into Izuku's desk, blasting him back with an explosion. Izuku was shot back to the back of the class and looking around he saw all his classmates laughing their heads off, and at the corner of his eye saw that the teacher too was laughing as well. Really? The teacher is actually promoting this to happen. Midnight yelled. 1. I see that guy, I'll kick him into next week, Rumi stated. As for the girls in 1A and 1B, they all thought the same thing too. I will kill him if I see that man. Listen up, Deku, you're even farther below the rest of these extras. You're quirkless and you really think you can stand in the ring with me? Katsuki yelled. In no, Kaken, it's not like that, I swear. I'm not trying to compete with you, I just wanted to be a hero all my life, saving people with a smile. I won't know unless I try, Izuku said back in a low tone. This small speech hit hard for a lot of the pros that were all starting to grow a soft spot for Midoriya. Seeing just how kind Midoriya's heart was and the will of steel he has to be a hero. What do you mean, unless you try? You'd never be able to hang with the best of the best. You'd die in the exams, Katsuki yelled. As for Izuku, from his point of view what he saw were shadow-like monsters all hanging over him. As for Izuku, from his point of view what he saw were shadow-like monsters all hanging over him. Is that how Deku-kun sees us? Uraraka asked, crying a little along with everyone else, stunned that this was how Izuku viewed the world. 14. Papa was just like me, Eri said. What do you mean, Eri? Ray asked. I used to see others like that, Eri said, crying a bit with Nijire, and Ray then going to comfort her. What the hell's that kid's problem saying this? Ryukyu yelled. While she didn't actually talk a lot with Izuku during the raid, she found him to be a adorable and kind kid that's too sweet to harm. Mix that with how much 𝗕𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗪 started to talk about him to her, and it made seeing him be bullied like this make her feel more and more angry. Alright you two, that's enough whispers, you can beat on him after class whispers. The teacher said 25, everyone hearing that had a vein show on their foreheads at how angry they had gotten hearing that from. The teacher is for, Nizuhi made a mental note that when they get back and go to that school to give 𝗕𝗶𝗄𝐶𝑡 attention towards this teacher 9 after class. Izuku like always was being left alone getting his things together and pulling out his analysis book to do some more detailing on the information in it, until Katsuki suddenly grabbed it. Deku, we're not done talking just yet, Katsuki said with 2 other bullies behind him. Hey look, the freak has a diary. One of them said, makes him that much more of a nerd. The other one said, 𝗕𝗁𝗂𝗏 give it back please. Izuku asked. Katsuki then blows up the notebook in his hand and throws it out the window. That's so mean Kaken, Izuku said with a tired tone, and look, with the spark in his eyes gone. He sounds so tired. How long did he have to endure this? Regular. Just how did Bakugo get into UA? Melissa asked. 6. Why did this happen to Izuku and not to me as well? I was born quirkless just like he was, and yet the lives we lived are practically polar opposites, Melissa thought. 8. That's just it. Everything we have on Bakugo about his behavior in school, all of it stated that Bakugo was a model and ideal student. Nizu said calm, but they all saw a crack appear on the teacup he was holding. 8. Society has gone down this much that schools forge their star students' papers, Nizu thought. So Deku, stay away from UA unless you want this active's quirk through you. Head, Katsuki said, and as went to leave he suddenly turned around and gave Izuku a scary, friendly-like smile and then said the one thing Izuku never thought Katsuki would ever say. 12. The students were all afraid of what Katsuki might say. It was pretty clear how much Katsuki hated Izuku since they were kids, but the main thing that was a shock to them was just the fact that Izuku's whole class and likely even the school staff were out to stack the odd against him as much as they could. Since Izuku is known for his overwhelming kindness and longing to help others, for others to bully him was undeniably wrong. If you really want a quirk so badly, there is one way you could, Katsuki said with a smug, causing a faint glimmer of hope to show in Izuku's eyes, but were immediately crushed when Katsuki continued. 1. All you have to do is take a swan dive off the roof and hope for a quirk in the next life, Katsuki stated and looked to Izuku, who now looked devastated, tired, and above all, broken. As Katsuki leaves, maybe I will, Izuku whispers. Mitsuki was in complete shock, seeing what her son had done, along with a few tears coming out too. Same can be said for her husband being just as shocked for what his son had said to their nephew. Even Katsuki was taken aback by this. He didn't know that Izuku actually considered it. For everyone else there, they were above angry, not attacking Katsuki out of Aizawa and Nizu's orders. That, and they were stunned at the comment Izuku made at the end. Was Izuku actually suicidal? Did he really try to? Is he still thinking like that? Were some of the questions they were all thinking, but most of all they felt even more shameful for the fact that none of them had even noticed or even asked Izuku about how he really feels. 5. Why didn't I ever see these kind of things? Melissa asked out, looking like she was gonna cry too. What do you mean, Melissa? Uraraka asked. Why didn't I go through at least similar stuff like that? Melissa said, raising her voice. Most of the people there didn't understand what she meant by that, since they didn't know Melissa was also quirkless. What do you mean, why didn't you? You do have a 𝗓𝗂, Denki said, but was cut off. I'm quirkless too. I don't have a quirk. So why was my life so different from his? I'm quirkless just like he was, but I wasn't treated like that. I never even saw things like that happen to quirkless people, Melissa yelled and started to cry too. All Might, David and Nana all went to go comfort her, but they couldn't say anything. No one could, now knowing this. Melissa was born quirkless just like Izuku was, but she never experienced what he did. She was never treated different from everyone. She was never bullied or beaten, and most notably people believed in her dreams. While Izuku's life, people treated him the exact opposite compared to Melissa. So why was her life so much better than Izuku's if they were both quirkless? All Might and David knew the answer. But it was an answer that would just Melissa feel even more sad and guilty. After Katsuki and the other two left, Izuku gathered his stuff and went down over to the koi fish pond where his notebook was currently being nibbled on by the koi. He grabbed it and just looked at it. No, I can't let that get to me. Besides, what if I really jump? Then what would that do to your future as a hero, Kaken? And I didn't mean that last part, right? Izuku thought 3. Then while on his way home he remembered the promise he made to himself since he was diagnosed quirkless. Yeah, I said it to myself once and I'll say it again. I will become a hero, no matter what anyone else thinks or says. I'll still believe and smile just like him, Izuku stated out loud after hearing that sudden change in Izuku's mood, and hearing the declaration made a lot of the heroes crack a smile and helped Melissa calm down a bit. This kid, 𝗳𝗏, you really did well in finding a worthy successor, Nana states, patting All Might of the back. All Might was gonna say thank when he suddenly remembered the first time he met Izuku and what he said, so as a result he stayed quiet and gave Nana just a slight nod. 7. 𝗕𝗏𝗁𝗏 Midori, you can do it. A lot of the girls from 1A and 1B yelled. Then Izuku was suddenly taken out of thought when he was grabbed by a sludge villain. Thanks kid, you'll make a good meat shield, the sludge villain stated. Despite how much Izuku struggled to escape, he eventually passed out. But at that moment the manhole cover from behind the villain shot open and out came All Might, and with one powerful Texas smash he saved Izuku's life. When Izuku woke up and saw the number 1 hero in front of him, he was shocked and then had one single question he wanted to ask him. All Might? Izuku said, still surprised. All Might simply laughed and then explained to Izuku what happened. And after Izuku tried to talk, All Might just gave him an autograph and then prepared to jump away. But right as he did, Izuku grabbed onto his leg. After a few seconds, All Might realized this and quickly landed on another roof. That was an extremely dangerous stunt there, young man, All Might stated. Geez, and I thought I was reckless, Rumi states. Her overall view on this whole thing with seeing other universes has been pretty bleak, but nonetheless she was angry at Katsuki and everyone that had hurt Izuku. Ever since Ryukyu told her about Izuku, she'd wondered if Izuku really was all that, and seeing this proved it, and meeting Izuku in person had, as much as she tried to say no, made her grow a soft spot for him. He does have the qualities of a hero. Unfortunately, one of those qualities are cracked up way too high for his own good. Recovery Girl states too, I am sorry sir, but I just wanted to ask, can I be a hero even though I'm quirkless? Izuku asked and then looked in front of him and saw All Might in his skinny form. What happened? Where's All Might? Izuku yelled, freaking out a bit. I am All Might kid, All Might stated. After that he then stated about why he looks like this and how he lost his stomach and part of his respiratory system, and then All Might answered the question Izuku asked him. It's okay to dream, but you have to consider reality as well. I'm sorry young man, I don't think you can be a hero without a quirk, All Might stated as he turned back into his buff form and jumped off. 5. Everyone was completely stunned at what All Might just said. They didn't want to believe that their All Might said this, but looking to him they saw that he had his head down in shame and regret, having to see his biggest regret. Clarifying that this actually did happen to their Izuku. Uncle Might, did you really say that to Mizuku? Melissa asked, about to cry, seeing how her uncle said this to the person that saved both her and her father. Yes, I did say that to young Midoriya. It's my greatest regret. I just was worried about his safety and didn't want to give him false hope that he could be a hero. I'm sorry, All Might admitted. Did you say that to him? I'm quirkless too. Or did you forget that I wanted to be a hero too? Melissa yelled, crying. 3. David quickly went to go and comfort his daughter. How could you do this, 𝗳𝗏? The quirkless are people too, my daughter. Your niece is quirkless and she trying to be a hero her own way. She believed you were a true hero, yet this is what you do to others that are quirkless, David said, hugging his daughter with a disappointed look towards All Might. He lied to me, Melissa thought as she remembers the time when she was diagnosed quirkless and she asked All Might the exact same question Izuku asked, but unlike Izuku, All Might said that she can be a hero too. 𝗳𝗏, I think I need to have a talk with you, Nana said with an eerie smile as she dragged All Might to an isolated part of the theater away from everyone. 14. Take a swan dive off the roof and hope for a quirk in the next life, played in Izuku's head as he looked over to the railing of the roof. Hey, you don't think he'll? Ryukyu asked, worried. This is our world's Izuku we're seeing, so he's still here. He's right through that door, Mandalay said. Hound dog, I need you to schedule an appointment with young Midoriya when we return. Nizu along with Aizawa state with Hound dog just nodding. Then Izuku's head suddenly shot up when he remembered what All Might specifically said. I don't think. He said, I don't think, meaning that he wasn't sure. If that's the case, then that's just more reason for me to try. I'll prove it to him that I can still become a hero, Izuku thought, stopping himself from getting closer to the edge. 1. ภิ-મિદો bro, even in the face of doubt, you still fight on. Kirishima stated, yeah, and you proved it. You have become a hero, the best one in our class at that. Denki added all the students were giving off similar statements seeing how strong Izuku's resolve is. Man, this kid sure does know how to turn doubt into motivation, Fat Gum stated with all the pros agreeing. Izuku then heads to the stairs to get down from the building to head back home. While on his way down the street, he heard a random explosion which seemed out of place since there was nothing of the sort happening around him that would cause an explosion. So Izuku went over to where he heard it and saw once again the sludge villain. Seeing this made Izuku blame himself since likely if he didn't latch on to All Might this wouldn't be happening. However, this time though there were quite a few heroes around too, but something was off. None of the heroes were actually doing anything, they were all kinda of just waiting. Then Izuku noticed something. The sludge villain was holding someone hostage, and after a closer look he realized it was Katsuki. Yeah, serves the kid right for what he did to the greenie, Rumi stated, which was responded with mixed opinions mainly by the pro heroes, while most of the students, i.e., the girls for the most part, agreed with Miruko 10. As much as I would like to agree with you, Rumi, we're heroes and we still need to protect him. Ryukyu stated, backed up by a few people. Oh yeah, what about the greenie? We should be helping / protecting him more than anyone, Rumi stated back, shutting them up too. As Izuku looked at Katsuki's eyes, he swore they were calling for help, but before he could think he was already running in, dashing through the crowd and past the heroes. What the? The heroes that didn't know Izuku that well all said they didn't accept someone that others described to them as timid and kind to do something that rash and dangerous. But despite that they all could see the convection and will emanating off the now hero in training. Since no matter how hurt he is or how much the odds are against him, Izuku will always do all he can to save others. You can do it, Dekuku / Midori. Beat that villain. Uraraka and Mina yelled, but guys, he's quirkless in that moment, how do you think he'll pull it off? Denki asked and was met with glares for his class and quickly shut up so that he wouldn't get stabbed by Jiros Jax 14. Why am I doing this? When did I even start running? Izuku thought, getting closer and closer to the sludge villain. It's too late to think about that now. I just have to do what I can for now, Izuku thought, giving himself a small boost in confidence. Oh. You again? Don't worry, kid, no need to rush, I'll kill you in a sec, the sludge villain said, moving himself toward Izuku. Okay, think. The only part of his body that appears to be completely solid looks to be his eyes and mouth, meaning it's the only parts that could cause him to feel pain, Izuku thought. So using that assumption, Izuku took off his back and threw it at the sludge villain eye, and like Izuku thought, the sludge villain winced back in pain, covering his eye and releasing the sludge over Katsuki's mouth, allowing him to breathe. Wow, would you look at that? That nerd-like side of Midoriya came in handy, Denki said, with everyone agreeing mainly to mock Katsuki. Hey, that's young Midoriya, alright, always being able to make very accurate assumptions on quirk weaknesses, even in the heat of battle. All Might stated after being scolded by Nana for what he said. Maybe we could ask for young Midoriya to show us those notebooks of his. Based on how detailed he can make assumptions that are very accurate and logical, those notebooks may very well have more information than the databanks we have in you, Inizu stated too. Good thing young Midoriya chose to be a hero. If he was a villain, his sharp mind could beat anyone, Nizu thought. 28. Why are you here? Katsuki yelled. As for Izuku, in the moment time seemed to stop as he started to remember all the times and all the events throughout his life where people said that he couldn't be a hero. Why, you looked like you needed help, Izuku blurted out as he did his best to try and imitate All Might's smile and brave face. Everyone, especially the pros, were shocked by this. Yes, they know Izuku now has a quirk, but to hear him say something like that during the time where he was quirkless and to see him do such a selfless act while seeing the ones that had power just stand there on the sidelines was astonishing. Why were you all just standing there watching? Aizawa asked the pros. Oh, our quirks weren't compatible towards the situation, so we thought it was better to wait for a hero with the proper quirk, Death Arms said with his head down along with the other pros that were there during the event. That's probably the most arrogant excuse I've ever heard. We're heroes, for God's sake. It's our job and responsibility to protect others regardless of the situation, Rumi stated. 12. As I once stated to Class 1A, your circumstances should not dictate the result of your battles. Learn to be constant and you'll be a great asset on the front lines, 𝗵𝗃𝗲 said. Yet after a second the sludge villain regained his composure and went to capture Izuku. But before he could, All Might suddenly rushed in and knocked out the villain with a Detroit smash and had even changed the weather, after which everyone around them cheered for the #1 hero. As for All Might himself, he simply looked to Izuku with a blank smile while dealing with the press during. That Bakugo was the one being complimented and praised that he made it, while Izuku on the other hand was being scolded by the heroes that didn't do anything and telling him that what he did was reckless and could have made the situation worse. "Why are you being mean to Papa? He tried to help," Eri said, crying a little, to which 𝗕𝗫𝗓 and Rei went to comfort her. While doing so, Aizawa grabbed the heroes that had scolded Midoriya with his scarf too. "Instead of checking to see if he was okay, you scolded him. While I understand your reasoning for doing this, still it doesn't justify what you did. You all just stood there and watched a hostage being suffocated. And as such, your inaction to do something was what made Midoriya do that. You're all the real reason why Midoriya did that. You all rely on your quirk too much and failed to actually use your head," Aizawa stated to the heroes, being backed up by quite a few of the pros along with both the classes. All the while Emi and Present Mike were both trying to calm Aizawa down so he doesn't do something to rash on them. As for the heroes Aizawa captured, they looked down in shame. Instead of actually seeing if Izuku was okay, they just scolded and shunned him for his actions and that he was right. They chose to just sit and wait for someone else to solve their problem, and thus inadvertently inspired Izuku to do just that. Guys, what's going on?" Izuku asked out as him and his mother both come out from the room. "It's a long story, sweetheart," Rei said, which surprised Inko a bit that Rei called him that, but at the same time, Inko had a small smile seeing that Izuku was making more friends/family that would be there for him. But before Izuku could ask for further explanation from his auntie, he was suddenly hugged by both Eri and Koda, with Eri looking like she about to cry her eyes out while Koda had a few tears coming out. "Hey, what's wrong, you two?" Izuku asked, kneeling to them. "They shouldn't have been so mean to you, Papa. You're an amazing hero. My hero," Eri cried out. "Just how were you able to keep believing you could become a hero when everyone around you were so mean to you for it?" Koda asked, starting to cry a bit. Izuku simply just picked up the two of them and hugged them, reassuring them that he was okay and there's no need to worry about him. "Anyway, guys, just what happened?" Izuku repeats, putting Koda down and giving Eri back to Rei and 𝗕𝗫𝗓. "They all saw how things began for you," Lost said, coming through a portal with a few bruises on his face. "They all saw some parts of your life when you were 4 and your middle school, along with the sludge villain incident, and yes, they saw what Bakugo said to you too," Lost states, making Izuku freeze a bit. "Now then, let's finish up the universe, and Eraser, don't kill those heroes." "Alright, same goes you, Nana," Lost says clearly, seeing All Might a bit beat up and making Aizawa release the heroes too. "Now then, let's finish this one up since I need to show you an alternative of what could have happened," Lost states with a serious tone, and resumed the universe. While Izuku was on his way home, he felt more and more worse as the impact of Kaken telling him to kill himself on top of All Might telling him that he doesn't think he can be a hero began to really sink in. "I never got the chance to say sorry to All Might for what I ended up doing. Maybe I'll try through his fan page," Izuku said to himself. So even after all that, Izuku still felt like he need to apologize for it. "I probably would have been angry, you Uncle Might and those heroes. No offense to any of you," Melissa said. "No, it's fine, Melissa. Young Midoriya had every right to be mad at me and society in general for what he went through, yet he doesn't," All Might replied. Did she just call him Izuku? All the girls thought, now realizing this as they all slightly glared at Melissa. There. Katsuki yelled behind Izuku, making him almost fall over in fear. "Why can't you ever just leave Izuku/Deku-kun alone?" Uraraka and Melissa yelled. "Yeah, Midori saved you, sorry, but from dying." Mina said, Hold on guys, please, it's fine really, it's in the past and I've come to terms with it," Izuku said, with confused the girls a bit, but they knew that this was just how Izuku was, while Katsuki just completely ignores them. "Hey, you guys think that Emi asked. "Do you really need an answer to that question, joke?" Aizawa said, annoyed. "Deku, listen up, I never asked to get help from a quirkless low life like you. All Might saved me, not you. So don't think I own you a thing. You got it?" Katsuki yelled, holding Izuku by the neck to a wall. "Hey kid, you think you hot? How about Rumi said, but was stopped by Ryukyu 6. "Rumi, calm down," Ryukyu said. "Why should I The greenie saved that jerk's life and that is how he says thanks. Rumi said, cool you head Maruko, young Bakugo has already been punished for what he did, doing this is unnecessary, Nizu said too, though I wouldn't argue that you should. Nizu thought after class 1A most of them did a quick glare to Bakugo knowing that there's no point in saying anything to him since it would change nothing yet except for one person, Kirishima that looked to Bakugo with shock and disbelief one. Dimming you shitty hair I don't need your pity. Katsuki thought refusing to acknowledge that there was one person other than Izuku that was trying to see the good in him one. Why yeah, I know Kaken, Izuku replied in a low tone as Katsuki let him go and walked off, but he's right I didn't do anything noteworthy but at least I tried, Izuku thought shedding a tear. My god this kid is gonna break my heart. All the female pro-heroes thought as they all started to feel a need to protect Izuku 9. No kid you're wrong, Nana said going to Izuku, you did something that would seem impossible to the average person. You pushed on and did something, not letting your fear lock you in place. If society thinks you didn't do anything meaningful then that's society's fault, Nana stated slightly petting Izuku 10. Well I guess I really should give up on my dream today proved that I really can't do anything Izuku thought with a depressed look. Them All Might suddenly appeared at that moment Izuku was suddenly surrounded and hugged by Uraraka, Momo, Jiro, Mina, Nijire, Melissa and Eri 5, Gee guys what are you? Izuku asked confused but was cut off. Ino Midoriya/Midori/Dekiki/Izuku/Greenie/Papa. Don't give up you can be a hero. They all yelled crying a bit. Izuku didn't know what to say. What he expected in his mind was for them to either ignore what they were seeing or them to change and hurt him like they did. All Might. What are you doing here? Izuku yelled surprised, escaping the press is nothing for me cough. All Might stated then revered to his skinny form, spiting out BLD scaring Izuku even more. Anyway kid, I had to thank you and apologize for what I said to you. You helped me remember what it means to be a true hero and I have proposal for you, All Might said to Izuku. Proposal? Thank me. No it was my fault from the beginning, I got in your way. I caused you to drop the villain and even though I'm quirkless I still tried to ask, Izuku said looking more and more sad as he talked. That's exactly why. It was you, out of all the people that were there, civilian and heroes, you, a timid and quirkless individual, acted more like a hero than anyone. Most of the top heroes show signs of greatness at an early age. With there being a common theme they all state. An event in which their bodies moved before they could think. All Might states hearing this Izuku started to kneel down and cry hearing all the years worth of insults and doubts people had said to him. As for the theater, they all listened, hearing the hundreds of thousands of voices all telling Izuku to give up, mocked him, insulted him and many more yet the main thing that stood out above all the voices was Inko's, the day she said the wrong thing. An event that Inko would never forget. The day that she failed her baby in his time of need. Everyone there even the most battle-hardened heroes were shocked hearing all the voices of people that all tired to make this innocent and kind-hearted kid give up on his dream. It seemed that society still has to learn that discrimination is and can be a crime worse than murder, Nizu stated 1. There are fates worse than death. Tokoyami stated but wished it wasn't true 10. Young man, you can become a hero. All Might announces to Izuku and right there, Izuku let it out, all the pain, all the doubt and insecurities for finally, someone believed, I believe that you are worthy of inheriting my power, All Might adds which confused Izuku on what he meant by that. So this was when Midoriya was given Momo said, well not quite. Lost stated as he just pointed to the screen so they could see. All Might began to explain how he got the quirk and tell Izuku that he can transfer it to him at first. Being the person he is, Izuku doubted that he was really worthy of the power, but after some pep talk Izuku agreed, good kid. Now the real training begins. All Might announced the following weekend we see Izuku doing all he can to try and pull a fridge with All Might sitting on top of it. This fridge make a comfy perch. Though a little movement would make it even nicer, All Might stated. But All Might, you weigh 600 pounds alone, Izuku said still trying to make the fridge at least budge. Nah. I've lose a bit of weight so I'm down to 560 these days, All Might corrected. All Might weighs twice that of a fridge. Shoji said surprised, expecting the number to be a bit higher. I think I'd be able to move that fridge without my quirk, so there's no way Midoriya could move that plus All Might without quirk 𝗬𝗓𝗏. 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗵𝗲, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound rude. I was just trying to say that moving both that fridge and All Might without a quirk is near impossible, Sato said, rephrasing what he said when he noticed the girls glare at him. Don't worry about his Sato, me moving a fridge that size with All Might. On top of it without it isn't gonna happen anytime soon, Izuku said with his normal smile that everyone missed. I'm not that heavy, All Might weakly stated. 5. You call half a ton, not too heavy, Toshi. Did you forget that he's still a kid? Nana said, lightly hitting All Might on the head. 1. By the way, just why am I dragging trash around the beach? Izuku asked, giving up on pulling the fridge and falling over. Haha, take a look at yourself. You're not ready for my power, All Might states, taking a picture of Izuku. But I thought you said I was worthy. Izuku yelled, shocked and saddened by this. Toshi, how could you do that to the kid? Playing on his emotions like that. Nana yelled, grabbing All Might. I meant his body. His body wasn't prepared to the power of OFA. All Might quickly stated, to not only avoid Nana but everyone else, since he saw how everyone looked at him when they heard what he said. I'm talking about you, weak body, All Might states, which confuses Izuku. My quirk, one for all, is a whole lot to handle. The combined physical abilities of everyone who's ever used it creates a hurricane of pure force. An unprepared body can't full inherit it. You arms and legs would shot off. If you tired too, All Might said, scaring his so that's why when you first used your power you broke you bones, Deku-kun. Uraraka asked, scared that Izuku could have died. Yeah, but don't worry now. My body's gotten a lot stronger since then, and I found a way to use it without it hurting my body, Izuku said, to try and calm down everyone that was worrying over him. For, hey, Izuku, you know I remade that gauntlet I gave you when we first met. I don't have it with me right now, but I could give it to you if you want when we get back. Melissa said with a blush. Oh really? Well, sure thing, Melissa. Again, I'm sorry for breaking the first 1 inch, Izuku said, bowing. Hey, I can just teleport it here if you want you to, Lost said, snapping his fingers, and the gauntlet appeared in Melissa's hands. Well, Izuku here, Melissa said, extending her hands out, her face fully red. Thank you. And Melissa, and you too, Lost, Izuku said, taking it and putting it on his right hand. During all that, the girls all were glaring holes into Melissa out of jealousy. When the hell did she get so close to him? Was the collective thought they all had. Seriously. Shaking head around. Okay, so this whole trash thing is just some hard gym workout and you're my trainer, Izuku said, piecing it together. Wow man, the #1 hero as you personal trainer. That'd be awesome. You must have learned a bunch of cool fighting moves during that time, right? Kirishima said, looking envious. Actually no, all me and All Might focused on was building up my body. All Might didn't have the time to teach me how to fight, Izuku explained. Wait, Deku-kun, does that mean the entrance exam was the first time you fought? Uraraka asked. Why yeah, it was scary but I did still save you, right? Izuku said, red-faced. Wait, All Might, when did you actually give Problem Child the quirk? Aizawa asked. Yeah, Toshi, I've been wanting to know that as well, Nana added. Toshi/All Might. Nana and Aizawa said, seeing how All Might refused to speak. Why, you'll see, All Might said, knowing that he's gonna get scolded when they find out. 39. Not just that. I did a little online research the other day. Turns out this part of the beach used to be appealing. Heroes these days are all about catching flashy villains. Things were different before quirks. Service was what mattered. You will restore the coastline. That is your first step in becoming a hero, All Might said, crushing the fridge with his hand. Toshi's right. Being hero doesn't only mean you go and catch villains and whatnot. Being a hero can be as simple as helping the community. True heroes do things such as service free willingly, without expecting something in return. True heroes are the ones that risk their lives without expecting recognition for it, Nana stated, with everyone agreeing with her. Looks around the beach. Why, I mean all this? That's impossible. Izuku yelled out, young 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗵𝗲, you want to go to you, right? All Might asked. Well yeah, I mean you went there, so it's got to be the best of the bests. I know it's a long shot but I'm gonna shot for the moon, Izuku stated with a small spark in his eyes. You got a lot of spurt. Femboy. But as I said before, being a hero isn't easy without a quirk. It's not fair but that's the reality. All Might restate. 17. All Might could feel the cold glares being pointed at him for what he said. Tisk, he's not wrong. The only reason why Deku got into UA was cause of All Might. Least All Might smart enough to know that quirkless people can't be real heroes. Katsuki thought with a smirk 32, but that smirk was gone the moment he felt Nizu starting him down with an innocent smile, but knew it was just fake 10. Then that means that I gotta prepare my body for you quirk really fast. UA's entrance exam is in 10 months, Izuku stated. 10 months. Really 10 months? How did you manage to do that in just 10 months? It would take a normal person like 2 years to do it alone, 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗵𝗲 asked, trying to calculate how that's possible. I made him a plan that would get the job won just in time if he stuck with it through and through. All Might said, not to worry, I've got you covered. With my aim to pass American Dream plan, All Might announced, giving Izuku a handful of paper. Follow this to the letter and the beach will be cleared just in time. I also detailed every other aspect of your life while I was at it. All Might said, every aspect. Midori, that's just an exaggeration, right? Mina asked, nope, it meant every aspect. It was the only way I'd be able to do it in time. It even went over my, Izuku said, and then has his sentence finished by the screen, even my sleeping schedule. Izuku said, stunned one. Yeah, that. Izuku said, dang, that sounds really tough, having to have your life fine-tuned for 10 months. Denki said, yeah, it was, but it paid off. Izuku said too. If I'm going to be honest, this is going to be super hard. Think you up to it? All Might asked, yeah, sure I am. I have to work harder than anyone else. So what choice do I have, right? Izuku said, a bit hesitant but above all determined. Now that's some serious manly drive there, Midobro. Kirishima stated, patting Izuku on the back. This of course caused all the students there to start to praise and cheer for Izuku as well. Hey, wait a sec. Midoriya, does this mean that you were the one that cleaned up that whole beach? Nijire asked. Oh yeah, Midoriya, was that really just you who did that? Momo asked. Why do you ask? Izuku asked, still a stuttering mess from his classmates' praise. Cause I loved going to that beach before all the trash got there and was so happy when I heard someone cleaned it. Nijire stated, same with me, Midoriya. I used to go that beach when I was little and was glad that someone had restored it. Momo said, I was the one who cleaned the beach. Izuku admitted. With this, Nijire dived into Izuku and hugged him, saying thank you while Momo bowed and thanked him. But Nijire's bold move wasn't going to be ignored by the girls that easily, and so I began 10 months of absolute hell. Izuku narrated too. What's then shown is the months of instance training Izuku went. Changing his food intake, working out, studying in class and cleaning the beach all at once. No matter the weather, Izuku would still come out there and get to work. Even when he'd puke his guts out, Izuku would still push on with the training. He'd haul trash off the beach, do grip strength in class, swim laps in the water and even run laps with All Might on his back. Go Midori. Mina cheered. You can do it, Deku-kun. Uraraka added, wow, Izuku, you can actually lift Uncle Might up and run without a quirk. Melissa asked, yeah, it was probably one of the hardest things to do, but it paid off, Izuku said with a determined smile too. Then with only 3 months left, we see Izuku with a safe, I think it's a safe, on his shoulder while running after All Might, who was on a Segway, until Izuku suddenly collapsed. Hey kid, look alive now, you've only got 3 months left. What are you gonna give up after all this work? Wanna flush it all down the toilet? All Might asks. He then notices Izuku's whole body erratically shaking as he tried to stand up, clearly seeing that Izuku's overworked. You're overworked. The aim to pass American Dream Plan was created with your body taken into consideration. It was fine-tuned to make sure that while your progress be swift, it'd be manageable, which means you haven't been sticking to it, you're overdoing things. That gonna have the opposite effect of what we want. Don't you want to pass? All Might states, I don't want to just pass, I have to work harder than anyone else or else I'll never catch up. I want to become the greatest hero in the world, so I'll keep on trying. Until I've got what it takes to do that. Izuku yelled with passion and will pouring out of his voice, fighting the pain to push himself to his knees. Everyone, especially the pros, were taken aback. Izuku's sheer passion and willpower to do all this. Man, Midoriya sure has one hell of a drive, Jiro said. That's an understatement. I'm pretty sure all of us would probably buckle under all that. Oh, Jiro said. So manly, bro, Kirishima said. Gee guys, it was really nothing too impressive. I just wanted to be a hero. I sure all of you would have done the same, put in that situation, Izuku said, downplaying himself. Yeah, no, thanks for the sentiment 𝗵𝗃𝗍, but trust me, what you did was undeniably impressive. Most of us would have called it quiets, Denki said, being back up by not only their class but 1B as well. 1. Right, 𝗵𝗃𝗍, you should be proud of what you achieved, Momo said. Yeah, I've never seen anyone with a drive like you. Not even Mirio had this much determination. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 adds, yeah, she's right, 𝗵𝗃𝗍, I could have done the training but not with all the other stuff you went through on top of it, Mirio said. Thank you, all of you guys, Izuku said, a bright smile that put the girls into a small trance. That fighting spirit's what I like about you, fanboy. All Might said, picking Izuku up by the back of the collar. I do get you concerns, but now's not the time to rush progress. Leave it to this old man to adjust you plan, All Might stated. You're not an old man, All Might, Izuku said, short of breath. /n. Kinda looks like All Might's slightly straggling Izuku with way he's lifting him in that scene as the last 3 months flew by. It was the day of the exam. We see All Might heading over to the beach. What he saw shocked him. Izuku on top of a massive pile of trash, screaming his heart out into the horizon with the entire beach cleaned. Hey, holy see, kid, you even cleaned up outside the area I told you to, holy stinkin' super see. All Might yelled too. Amazing, he cleaned that whole beach just in time, Aizawa stated, with everyone minus Katsuki, even Monama, cheering on Izuku for what he did. So manly. The manly duo yelled. Even the pros, who remained relatively quiet, couldn't ignore this achievement. Even before Yue, the kid's full of surprises, Ryukyu stated, knowing just how strong Izuku was from the raid, but now sees that Izuku was much more strong than she thought. I'm not one to make teams, but maybe this greenie can be an exception. After seeing this, I doubt that he couldn't handle me. Maybe he could even be something like a student to me, or maybe something a bit more. Ryukyu said he started focusing on kicks, so maybe I could show him some of mine. Rumi thought, eyeing the green-headed student 9. Well, would you look at that? That kitten really is gonna go far with that drive, 𝗵𝘃𝗵𝗍 said. I know. Not only did he have the odds heavily stacked against him, he surpassed everyone already high expectations. I'm gonna be excited for the next summer camp with the kids' class, Tiger said. Hey guys. Ragdoll said, grabbing their attention since it was strange hearing her stutter. I know I lost my quirk and my hero license has been suspended. This further notice, but this proved that I can still be a hero without my quirk, so you guys think so too, right? Ragdoll asked. For, of course we do. Quirk or no quirk, you're one of us. To the end, Mandalay said, going to hug Ragdoll along with the 𝗵𝘃𝗵𝗍 and Tiger. As Ragdoll started to cry a bit. 3. Izuku then fell from exhaustion, but lucky All Might dashed over and caught him and then stood him up. Excellent work, my boy. Grabs his phone. Look at this. All Might says, showing Izuku a picture of him from the beginning. It's you crying 10 months ago. Look how far you've come. All Might said, pointing to Izuku's body, which was now fully built up, with defined pecs, showing 6-pack and muscular arms, with the sweat on his body mixed with the rising sun exemplifying it. Look how far you've come, All Might said, pointing to Izuku's body, which was now fully built up, with defined pecs, showing 6-pack and muscular arms, with the sweat on his body mixed with the rising sun exemplifying it. 14. Seeing this made all the girls their nose bleed a bit and have a heavy blush cross their faces. With Momo, remember the previous universe they all saw, and Uraraka covering her eyes but taking peeks. Dang Midori, looks like your hard work was worth it. Bet if those girls from middle school saw you now they'd think differently of you. Whispers. I know, I sure have whispers, Mina said with a red face. 1. Ace so lucky having him. Most of the girls from 1B all thought 7 before Izuku could pass out from embarrassment. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 came up as well. Hey, I just realized, how come when you put on a uniform, your build doesn't show? Is it cause of your quirk? Do you inflate like how All Might does when you take off your shirt? Will you grow as tall as All Might? 𝗕𝗫𝗓 asked, being her normal self. Well, I don't know why. I'm pretty sure my quirk isn't related to that. No, I don't inflate and I may grow a bit taller. I don't know, since I'm already taller than my mom. That all of them. Izuku said, Hey, you did it again. I'm glad I found someone that can keep up with my questions. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 said, giving Izuku a quick hug and going back to her seat. Hey, if you really want to know, those muscles of his are still there under that uniform. I mean, I felt them up myself, 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗆 stated, making everyone, mostly the girls, freeze. What the? 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗆? Just why were you doing that? Power Loader yelled, feeling him up. Izuku, is this true? Inko asked along with Mitsuki and Rei. 𝗵𝗃𝗧𝗵𝗲. It's not what you think. I swear. Izuku quickly stated, panicking seeing his parental figures concerned. Well, it's 'cause he came over to me to make some babies, 𝗵𝗃𝗄 said, not caring about how that sounds to people that don't know what she means by babies. 6. All the girls froze for a sec and then suddenly dashed toward 𝗵𝗃𝗄 but were stopped by Lost holding them in the air. Sorry, but I can't have you girls killing someone, Lost said, putting them back on the ground but holding them still until they calmed down. As for the pros, the ones that in the UA staff weren't really bothered since they know what 𝗵𝗃𝗄 meant, but the one that didn't were shocked, thinking that this sweet, kind kid might not be all that innocent in making babies. 𝗧𝗵𝗃𝗁 said and then passed out. 3. Mom. Wake up. Izuku yelled, panicking. Dang, looks like kids are doing the deed younger each year, Mount Lady said. 1. I young love, and Midoriya, I didn't take you to be so mischievous. Midnight teased, wanting to have some fun. Everyone. She mean her inventions. 𝗵𝗃𝗄 calls her inventions babies. Power Loader states to save the greenie, with Lost just cracking up a bit from this whole thing too. Okay guys, come on, we need to finish this up. There's still something important I need to show you all after, Lost said. Everyone after a bit calmed down and looked back to the screen, with Inko waking up and Power Loader going to explain that whole thing to her. There's still a long road ahead of you before you can fully inherit my power. But it's starting to look like you can do it. All Might said, pulling out a piece of his hair. Now eat this, All Might said, getting a completely confused look from Izuku. As for everyone in the theater aside from Izuku, All Might and Nana, they had basically the same reaction really, with a grossed out tone. So you gave him the quirk the day of the exam, Aizawa said. Wait, All Might said, knowing what gonna happen. Sign, I get that you were short on time, but still, given how badly injured he got, you could have at least given him some pointers on how to use it, Aizawa stated. Yeah, and based on the fact that the kid was able to clean out that whole beach rather than that spot you told him to, you could have given him the quirk like 2 or 3 days before the exam, Nana said. Weiss, I'm sorry, All Might said, bowing. You have to ingest my DNA in order to inherit my power, that's how it works. This is the least gross option. Now come on, the exam starts in a few hours, eat, EITT. All Might yelled as Izuku scarfed down the hair. Few hours later we see Izuku looking at the UA entrance. This is it, my first step in becoming a hero, Izuku said to himself, and then proceed to trip over himself. Or I'll just die, Izuku thought, falling. But right before hitting the floor he suddenly started to float. 8. Oh. This was when we first met, Uraraka said with a smile. Waya, thanks again for catching me there, Uraraka, Izuku said with a small blush. Oh, of course, Dekana anytime, Uraraka said, stutter more than Midoriya. Sorry for using my quirk on you without asking. If figured you wouldn't mind, besides it's back omen to trip and fall. Well, good luck for both of us, Uraraka said, and head in. A girl talk to me, Izuku thought with embarrassed smile. 1. Hey Midoriya, you make it sound like you never talked to girl before, Denki said, wanting to make a small joke. At the time any girl I ever met they'd either ignore me or, Izuku said, but stopped as he started to tear up. 7. Whoa, I'm sorry Midoriya. I was just trying to make a small joke, I'm sorry. Denki quickly said, immediately feeling horrible that he almost made Midoriya cry too, and he could feel the anger coming off from everyone including the pros for what he almost did too. No, takes a breath, it's fine, now I can talk to our female classmates, the girls of 1B, Melissa, 𝗵𝗃𝗄 and Hado-senpai, knowing that they won't make fun of me or do that to me, Izuku said, trying to make sure that he friend know he didn't do anything wrong. 7. While, as for the girls, they all went up to Kaminari and collectively said, do that again and you're dead, making Denki go pale with fear. 22. Once in the building Izuku went and with everyone else took the written part of the exam. After which Izuku head to the auditorium and then noticed that his seat was next to Bakugo's. Doing his best to not be bothered by it, he waited until Present Mike showed up. It's the voice hero Present Mike, I used to listen to his show every week. Guess all the UA teachers would also be pro heroes. Izuku talked to himself until Katsuki told him to shut up. Excuse me sir, I have a question. It says here that there are 4 different villain robots. Such a simple error is highly out of character for a school such as UA. And you, the one with the green hair, you've been muttering this whole time. If you really think that this is just some game, then you don't belong here and should leave, 𝗧𝗪𝗧 stated, glaring at Midoriya, who sunk into himself with shame as it started to feel like his old classroom all over again, as everyone around Izuku did the same and glared at him when they saw that surprisingly Jiro and Melissa went up and hit 𝗧𝗪𝗧 on the head. Ow. 𝗧𝗪𝗧 said, holding the top of his head. 𝗕𝗏𝗂𝗧 already forgave him. Besides, it wasn't that big a deal, Izuku said, wanting to de-escalate the situation. Even still, Rep, you shouldn't do things like that to a person, especially for something that small. And for the record, I was like 2 or 3 rows away from him, and even with my hearing, I barely heard what he was saying, Jiro said, having one of her jack looming in front of 𝗧𝗪𝗧's face too. You had no idea what Izuku's background was at the time. For all you know, it could have been a nervous habit. Not to mention the fact that you labeled him like that in what? Not even 10 minutes. And considering what Jiro said, if she couldn't hear him and she was closer and has better hearing than you, how in the world did you manage to hear him? If anything, it seems like you were just trying to seek attention at the expense of Izuku's feelings, Melissa scolded. Melissa, please calm down, you to Jiro. It wasn't a big deal really, Izuku restated. Well, Melissa is right in a lot of ways, Midoriya, Momo said, being backed by quite a few of the girls. Midoriya, I'm terribly sorry for the things I said to you and of my grave misjudgment of who you are, 𝗧𝗪𝗧 said, bowing one after the brief. They were all standing in front of the fake city. Izuku noticed that nice girl looking a bit nervous, so he went to go and try to talk to her, but was stopped by the same blue hair person from earlier. She's clearly trying to concentrate. Were you trying to interfere and put her at a disadvantage? 𝗧𝗪𝗧 said while everyone else started to mock Izuku, and just like before, Izuku looked and saw everyone as shadow-like figures looming over him. All the girls just glared at 𝗧𝗪𝗧 for again, essentially bullying Izuku for 𝗕𝗏𝗁. I wanted to ask, do you really see us like that? Uraraka asked, afraid of his answer. Yeah, I did in the beginning, but don't think I still do. I'm okay, Izuku said with a real smile on his face, with 𝗧𝗪𝗧 once again apologizing for his actions towards Midoriya. When the exam started, Izuku was already lagging behind. No matter how much he searched, he couldn't find a robot, and anyone he did find was destroyed before he could get it. As sometime the ground started to shake, and from it a massive robot came out from a building. Izuku, along with everyone, started to run away. That was until Izuku heard a voice for help. He looked back and saw the same nice girl that had helped him trapped under rubble, and like before, he started to move. Before he could think, he leapt up to the face of the robot and remembered the advice All Might gave him. So clench your butt cheeks and yelled this from the depths of your heart. 𝗧𝗛𝗧. Izuku yelled in his head as he punched the 0-point robot and destroyed it. Everyone was in awe seeing this, even the ones that already saw it. Amazing, manly, unbelievable were some of the things be said to praise Izuku for what he did. For then Izuku starts to fall right then and there. Everyone stopped cheering, with the ones that didn't know what happened. Now we're worried on just how is Izuku gonna get himself out of this. Bitch. No, don't panic. Come on, think. My right arm and legs are broken. What can I do? Come on, think. A Detroit smash. It'll be hard to time, but it's my best bet to survive. Izuku quickly thought. He prepared himself of another smash when he was suddenly slapped. Deku-kun? I'm sorry for hitting you, Uraraka said. Why you save me, Uraraka? If anything, thank you, Izuku said, making Uraraka blush a bit. Well, it's better than the alternative, Denki stated. Izuku then sees that he's floating and then slowly goes down on the ground. He looks and sees the same girl he went to try and save. She then releases her quirk and lets them both down, and then releases her lunch. And that's that. Everyone lost, said, stopping the screen. Toshi, Nana said. Weiss, All Might replied, really? That's the advice you gave him? And you didn't even tell the poor kid the extent of how much he could be hurt? Nana stated too. Weiss, I'm sorry, All Might said. Alright, now I want to show you all an alternative universe, one that played out exactly like yours. Until one single change from you world, Lost said. May we ask what it is? Nizu said. The one change is a different choice of words, that's all. Now let's begin, Lost said, snapping his fingers. As the screen started up too, we see Izuku on the rooftop with All Might finishing, telling Izuku about his injuries, and then All Might said it. It's okay to dream, but you have to consider reality as well. I'm sorry, young man. You can't be a hero without a quirk, All Might said, and then jumped away. I don't see the difference. All Might said almost the same thing, Denki said. Despite being labeled as dumb, Denki wasn't alone, a lot of the theater were also confused by this. The only difference was a change of words. How could that change things very much? Trust me, you'll see. This event plays an extreme role in your dimension, Lost stated, such as. Aizawa asked, this event alone in certain universes can determine the future of either Class 1A's survival to the survival of the entire world, Lost stated, which shocked everyone. Heck, this event is so important that me and the other 3 guiders have to go and replace All Might for this event to make sure he says the right things to Izuku. Lost added, both good or bad. Lost thought Izuku looked down in pain, regret and sorrow. For the first time the boy whose will could carry the weight of. The world broke as he started to hear voices of everyone who doubted him, but all them were nothing compared to one voice, a new voice that stated just 2 simple words, you can't. Again and again Izuku hear those 2 words ring in his mind, getting louder and louder. He'd been told those 2 words many times before, but this time it was different because this time All Might said it. He said, you can't, meaning that he truly believes I can't become a hero without a quirk. Izuku thought, going to the railing, I really am just a worthless Deku. What did I do to deserve this? All I wanted was to help people, and yet I'm bullied, ignored, hated, discriminated and shunned for it. Izuku thought, climbing over the railing, and then held his chest and cried. Seeing Izuku like this broke everyone's heart. Seeing Izuku like this broke everyone's heart. This was the person that wore a smile even in the darkest times, the one that they could always rely on to help them back on their feet. 5. Seeing the same person looking that sad and broken made all of them feel the same. Izuku was the school's beacon of hope, the one that inspired all of them, the one that truly protected them with his life on more than one occasion. This also made them all now understand how that one small change of words was so important. Now knowing the impact and importance of the choice of words, All Might said to Izuku that day, if I just said 2 different words this would have happened. All Might thought with every second that passed, the more and more the voices got louder, the memories of him being beaten became harder and harder for him to ignore. With all of it coming to remind him of all the pain he chose to hide from his mother, almost everyone looked to Izuku with tears in their eyes, with some moving closer to him, with Eri and Inko going right beside him. I'm tired, so tired of all this. Remembers what Kaken said to him. Well, I hope Kaken was right and it'll end the pain, Izuku said out loud, getting on his feet and looking down, and a gust of wind came by, lifting up his sleeves, and what was shown was scars and deep cuts along his wrists. Problem child, show me you wrists now, Aizawa suddenly demanded, going to Izuku. Izuku couldn't resist, since along with Aizawa most of the pros also demanded, so he showed them his wrists and they all saw scars from battle. If I ever hear about you, Aizawa said, but was cut off. Hey, wait a sec, is that makeup? Ryukyu asked, concerned, making Izuku flinch. 16. Suddenly Inko went up, grabbed Izuku's arms and started to rub his wrists with her shirt, and what they all saw horrified them. Izuku had makeup on the whole inside of his forearms. Under the makeup were hundreds of scars and small cuts, with some looking not even a day old. Izuku 𝗕𝗶𝗍𝗍. Inko asked, about to cry, seeing that her baby cuts while everyone else was frozen in place. That their Izuku cuts. To ignore the pain of the memories, Izuku admits, and started to cry. 29. Inko, Mitsuki, Rei and all the female pros go and hug Izuku as he cried. His screams of pain and regret echoed throughout the theater, with everyone else that were watching were just frozen. 5. Izuku had been cutting this whole time since his time in UA, and none of them ever noticed it, even when he worn short sleeves. They didn't notice it was makeup on his arms. After a couple minutes, Izuku started to calm down a bit. Recovery girl goes and uses her quirk on him to heal the cuts and most of the scars. I don't have an explanation on how RG didn't know or heal the cuts already, so don't question it please. 12. Midoriya? Aizawa said. Why, sir. Izuku replied, still crying a bit. Midoriya, look, I'm sorry, we're all sorry, for never taking notice of your problems for so long. As a teacher I've failed at my duty to protect you, but please, for your sake and everyone else, stop cutting, Aizawa said, being backed by everyone else. After a bit, with everyone showing their support to Izuku, he was able to regain his composure, with all of them heading back to their seats aside from Inko, Mitsuki and Rei, who stayed close to him. Izuku looked one last time up into the sky and took one step, and for the first time he didn't feel sad, lost or afraid. He felt free. As he fell, he started hearing the voices start to become quieter and quieter. 3. Most of them that were watching, if they weren't tearing up for the truth they just learned about Izuku, they now were seeing this young kid, the most kindest person they've ever seen. Their closest friend, their crush Jump. With some either covering their eyes not wanting to see, some holding on to Izuku in some way. Izuku had a small grin knowing that all the pain, the memories would be gone and he'd finally be at peace. Then the time came he hit the pavement and there he felt the most amount of pain he'd ever felt in his life. My God. /and were the main two things that everyone in the theater yelled out seeing Izuku hit the pavement, with the students either vomiting seeing it or passing out from the shock. Thankfully with Eri and Koda having their eyes and ears covered by 𝗕𝗬𝗓 and 𝗵𝗏𝗧, so I'm still alive. I can't even kill myself, right? Izuku thought as he felt the pain spread out his body and the feeling of BLD starting to pool around his body too. It hurts, but I've gone through worse. Soon it'll go away and I'll be free from everything, Izuku thought as he closed his eyes. But in that moment, he remembered something: his mom, how much she loved him, how she was the only one that showed him care and love, the only one that made him feel at peace. Izuku's eyes shot open, realizing he didn't want to die, not yet. He still wanted to spend time with his mom, the one person that was there for him too. Everyone started to cry hearing this, for this was too much, so much pain and sorrow emanating off this poor kid. It's cruel that the kindest hearts are often the most broken, 𝗕𝗁𝗵𝗲 stated. 7. 2 don't want to die, not yet, Izuku cried out in his mind as he then heard many footsteps coming towards him. There he is, over here. Someone called out, over here, come on, everyone get over here. Another person yelled. Izuku looked as best he could and say what looked to be a few heroes and some paramedics. Jesus Christ, come on, we need to get him to the hospital. What are you doing just standing there? One of the paramedic yells, seeing another medic just stand there after taking a BLD sample to see who Izuku was. Leave him, the medic said. What? Everyone in the theater yelled in confusion and anger at what that medic just said. Why the hell did he say that? It's their job. Their responsibility to save people alongside the heroes. Ryukyu yelled out. Oh, I think I know why, Nizu said with a tone of voice that was filled with anger, a tone no one ever thought they'd hear from Nizu. Says here the kid's quirkless, he deserves to die, the medic explained as the paramedic and the heroes froze and just stared at him. As for the theater, needless to say they were all steaming angry. This was a paramedic, someone who'd swore to rescue people alongside heroes, and yet he was refusing to help because Izuku's quirkless. Again, why did this never happen to me? I never had a doctor refuse to help me cause I'm quirkless, Melissa thought, looking to Izuku with tears in her eyes. What's wrong with you? This is a kid. A living person. One of the paramedics yelled, he's quirkless. The medic yells back, he's human. The paramedic yells, he's not human. 𝗵𝗃𝗁𝗏𝗧. He's a insignificant thing that has no right to live in our world. The medic yelled, and then the paramedic went and punched the medic out cold too. We're wasting time, we need to get the kid to a hospital now. One of the heroes said, getting a grip on reality again. Well, deal with you later, another hero stated as the heroes picked Izuku up and ran to a hospital. So society has gone this far down that they don't even see the quirkless as human or living beings. Nizu thought, please, save him, was the collective wish the whole theater had, along with the hope that that medic be punished for what he did, and said in the Midoriya residence we see Inko pick up a phone call for the hospital. Hello, this is Midoriya. Inko, how can I help you? Inko asked, ma'am, we regret to inform you that your son is in the hospital and unfortunately he's in critical condition. He's currently on his way to surgery, the person on the phone stated. Inko stood there shocked, almost dropped the phone hearing this. Izuku, my baby, in the hospital in critical condition. Inko thought as her imagination ran wild of thousands of different possibilities. Ma'am, are you still there? Are you okay? The person on the phone yelled, snapping Inko back into reality. Yes, I'm still here. Can you tell me what hospital he's in? Inko asked to the person, who then gave it to her. Inko then shot a text to Mitsuki about what happened and rushed over to the hospital. When she go there, they told her that Izuku's still in surgery and she'd have to wait. After about an hour had passed, Mitsuki along with her husband and Katsuki had arrived in the hospital. Inko, did you get any new information? What's happening to my nephew? Mitsuki yelled, going to Inko. Just from looking she could tell that Inko was crying. her eyes a faint red color with marking down her cheeks. Inko just shook her head no. Masaru did what he could to try and calm his wife and Inko while Katsuki was acting unusually quiet. No way that nerd actually did it. He's too much of a coward to actually do something like that. He probably just got too close to hero fight and ended getting caught in the middle like a stupid Deku he is. This isn't my fault. Katsuki thought, unwilling to accept the truth that he's responsible too. Before any could glare or say anything at Katsuki, Miruko suddenly jumped over to him and went to kick his head off, but before she could, Lost went and blocked the kick for Katsuki. Why the hell are you protecting that key? Know that monster. After all he did, he still refuses to accept the fact that he did it. Miruko said, it's cause, 1, as difficult as it may seem, Katsuki has changed since that time, and 2 is that again this is a different world. Yes, it's one of the most similar to yours, but still, there's no guarantee that if this happened in your world, that Katsuki would think like that as well. Lost explained too. Rumi was still not convinced. While she wouldn't admit it, she had grown a heavy sense of care toward Izuku, cause after seeing what he'd been through and seeing just how kind of a kid he still was, who wouldn't, Miss Miruko, please, there's no reason to do this. Kaken's changed since then. Please, it's not a big deal anymore, Izuku said. 3. The kid's right, Rumi. This isn't our world. We've seen how our world played out, Ryukyu reluctantly said, putting her hand on her friend's shoulder. I've never seen her get this protective towards someone. Ryukyu thought, God Greenie, you're the kind for you own good, Miruko said, going back with Ryukyu. Damn it. Why the hell can't I argue with the Greenie? This Greenie's too kind to argue against, Miruko thought. Mrs. Midoriya. A doctor said, coming out of the operating room, making Inko and Bakugo's all go to him. How's my baby? Is he going to make it? Inko asked right off the bat. I'm sorry, miss. Izuku is conscious, but his injuries are just too severe for us to save him. I don't know how much time he has left, but I recommend you all go in there and say you goodbyes, the doctor admitted, leaving the two families there shocked. Inko grabbed her son's hand while Mitsuki and Rei put their hand on his shoulder. While they knew that Izuku, their son and nephew, was still alive, they all wanted some reassurances that Izuku was there, especially Mitsuki and Rei. One, since Mitsuki felt partly responsible for this, being Kastuki's mother, and Rei since she didn't want to lose her nephew after all of the kind acts he showed her, and especially since she just got him as her nephew. Aunt Mitsuki, Aunt Rei, don't worry please, I'm okay, Izuku said as the three mothers then went to hug him. Izuku, my baby, he won't know please, this has to be some kind of sick joke please, Izuku, don't leave me all alone, please, Inko thought as she and the Bakugos went into the room. When they saw what was behind the door, they all felt their hearts sink. Izuku, the sweetest child they'd ever know, having multiple machines connected to him, his chest barely raising up and down and the heartbeat monitor showing a dangerously low heartbeat, scaring them even more, seeing how slow his heartbeat was and that at any moment the next beat could the last. Izuku said, turning his head and looking into his mother's eyes, his own eyes being completely lifeless and blank. Inko went over and held her son's hand and felt how cold it was. I'm sorry you got stuck with we as you son, you deserved a real son, a son with a quirk. I was more a burden to you than a son, Izuku said. 1. Even when death's howling your name, you still care about others more than yourself. You have nothing to be sorry for, young Midoriya. It's society that should be apologizing for turning its back on your kind heart, Nizu said, shedding a single tear watching his favorite student's life come to its end. 9. You have nothing to be sorry for, my baby. I never thought of you as a burden. You're the most important person in my life. I should have done more. I should have done so much more for you. I'm sorry for what I said, Izuku. I should have said you can be a hero because you were always my hero, Inko said, crying her eye out. She then felt a slight touch on her cheek. She looked and saw Izuku doing all he can to try and comfort her. She grabbed his hand, placed it on her cheek. Even now when you're the one that's hurt, you still try to comfort me, my baby. You have the kindest and purest heart I've ever seen. I'm so thankful to have you as my son, Izuku, so please don't leave me, Inko said. Please promise me that you'll stay as strong and live, Izuku requested, scaring everyone as his voice became more and more weak. But before Inko could respond, Izuku then pointed his hand to Katsuki. 𝗧𝗂𝗁, and no Katsuki, Izuku said with an angry tone that shocked Katsuki. 𝗧𝗂𝗁𝗧𝗔, Izuku said as he closes his eyes and the heartbeat monitor flatlines. 15. Izuku Izuku. No, please. Open your eyes. Don't leave. Don't leave me all alone. How can I stay strong when me reason for living is gone? Izuku. Please don't go, 𝗵𝗃 cried out as the doctors came in and pulled the families out to the hallway to do last checks on Izuku's body. Once out, Mitsuki and 𝗵𝗃 continued to cry, until one thing crossed their mind: Izuku's last words. Why did he say that to Katsuki? Keikastuki, why did my baby say wait, don't tell me? 𝗵𝗃 said, her expression slowly changing from sad to angry. Soon Mitsuki caught on to what 𝗵𝗃 was thinking. Katsuki, don't tell me, did you play a part in this? Mitsuki asked in both disbelief and shock. The three of them stared at Katsuki, waiting for a response until 𝗵𝗃 grabbed him. Katsuki, Bakugo, tell me, did you do this? 𝗵𝗃 asked, looking right into Katsuki's eyes. Why, I said he should do this, Katsuki admitted. Then everything stopped for a few seconds. None of them made a sound until smack one. You're the reason my baby's gone. Why? Why did you do this? He was your brother and the only thing I had left. And you took my baby from me, 𝗵𝗃 said as she then passed out and was caught by Mitsuki. Plus Lost stops the screen and looks to see everyone tearing up with Izuku closest friends and family be by his side, and most of the female pro heroes doing their best to not tear Katsuki apart. Shocking, isn't it? All this from just a different word choice, with the changing of just 3 words to 2, and this world could have been your world. I'll give you guys a break to calm down, Lost said in a monotone. Well, now that you've all seen this and have had some time to think, anyone have something to say? Lost asked, seeing how everyone, mainly the students, had clear tear mark on their faces. 𝗵𝗃. Do you still have those kind of thoughts? Momo asked, eyeing his wrists that earlier were covered with cuts inflicted by his own hand. Everyone was eyeing Izuku for an answer. They'd been inadvertently turning a blind eye to the school's most kindest heart and their cinnamon rolls pain ever since the first day, and now they wanted to be there for him, wanted to make him know that he isn't alone. But for that to happen, they need Izuku to open up to them. Izuku was hesitant of what to say. He wanted to lie to try and save his classmates the guilt, but because of all they saw and now know of him, it'd be pretty easy for them to know that he's lying. Plus Izuku was never a good liar. I don't have thoughts like that as much as I used to, but recently I feel like I don't belong here. All of you worked so hard with you quirks to get here, and I was given the power. But I haven't thought of that ever since then, Izuku said, unable to gain the will to look at them. Midoriya? Aizawa said, going to him along with Nana. Why, sir? Izuku replied, nervous. Midoriya, you more than anyone deserves to be here. The first day I almost made a grave mistake. Granted, it was cause a certain musclehead didn't inform me. Regardless, Midoriya, you've persevered in the face of doubt all your life. You've shown more potential than anyone I've, or really anyone the UA staff have seen if a long time, and you are a hero to a lot of people. Just look to Eri or Koda, Aizawa stated, with Eri going to hug Izuku while Koda just looked with a softened face. Yeah, your teacher's right, kid, you without a doubt belong here. I once told this to Toshi, there's a difference between being lucky and deserving. One's an accident and the other a reward. Never get the two confused. You don't have to be born special to be special, Nana said too. Thank you, Mississippi Shimura, Mr. Aizawa, Izuku said, rubbing his eyes. Oh, are you going soft now, show? Now will you marry me? Emi said with a smile. Don't push it, joke, and no, Aizawa quickly stated, making everyone lighten up a bit. For Izuku, 𝗵𝗃 said, grabbing his arm. Izuku, why didn't you tell me? I knew that you were hiding something, but I didn't think it was this much. If I was a good mother, I would have realized this. This is now twice I've failed to be there for you when you needed it. 𝗵𝗃 stated as she started to shake. She began to remember all the times in her life where she could have, or better yet should have done, so much more for her baby boy. She wished she took a more hands-on approach for Izuku, and actually tried to press into her baby's life to find out what was happening to him after she noticed him change. Mom, Izuku said, grabbing his mother by the shoulders. Mom, you have nothing to feel bad about. You said that back then 'cause you worried about me, like any parent would be. You were always involved in my life. Yes, you had to work extra hours a lot, but still you made time for me. You still would make breakfast and talk with me about what would happen for the day. I didn't want to tell you because you already had so much to deal with, having multiple jobs, taking care of the house, dad leaving, and taking care of someone who's quirkless. I just didn't want to give you more work and cause more worry for you. It's why I spend so much time being there for you. I didn't want to be more of a burden to you than I already was, Izuku explains, starting to cry and punching a hole in everyone's hearts. Izuku, you were and never will be a burden to me, and yes, I was worried about you, but understand that no matter what, quirkless or not, I will always worry about you. It's a parent's job to do so. You could have been born with the most powerful quirk in the world and I'd still be worried about you. I'm sorry for what I said that day, Izuku. Even if you never got a quirk, you can still be a hero, Inko said, hugging Izuku. Izuku could only hug back and just look around. He could feel all the caring emotion coming off of everyone around him, with all of it going to him. Ever since the first day, he always questioned to himself of, are they really my friends? Would they actually still accept me if they knew the truth? Would they still think he could be a hero? To now see and hear his closest friends and family tell him that he's one of them, quirkless or not, and that above all he's not a wasted life, he could finally feel his spark and spurt slowly be put back together after being broken for so long. I don't know what say. Thank you everyone, thank you, Izuku said, crying. For the first time he truly felt accepted and a part of something. Everything looked to going well, with Lost having a smile, remembering that it was moments like these that were the reason why he and the others guiders do what they do. Yet nothing can be perfect. There was still one lingering question in Izuku's mind about all this. Now that they know, are they just being nice to me out of pity, not care? Izuku thought, and there was one person that made a small groan after Inko said Izuku could be a hero even without a quirk, and that person was none other than Katsuki. Hey, you having a bit of a problem there, bud? Lost said, looking angry but still speaking in a calm tone. Just what she said, that someone could actually become a hero without a quirk. There's no way that could ever happen. Only reason why Deku is here is cause All Might gave him one for all. Without it, Deku wouldn't be here, Katsuki said, sounding like this statement was common. Fact 27. But before anyone could do anything, or more specially, before the girls and female pro-heroes could tear Katsuki to pieces, they all felt an intense aura. The look and saw Lost and his body slowly starting to change, and then saw that his eyes had changed from blue to blood red, eyeing Katsuki. Lost said, his voice distorting drastically as his body started to resemble a monster. Nizu, Hound Dog, and you all felt their animal instincts kick in for them to either run away or to bow in. 𝗬𝗏, you managed to do something countless universes couldn't. You pissed me off. Lost yelled as his body then burst out a thick black mist. Once it disappeared, they all saw a beast-like figure. For you pissed me off. Lost yelled as his body then burst out a thick black mist. Once it disappeared, they all saw a beast-like figure. 16. Basically this, but more werewolf-like than wolf. And of course not that massive. For Lost the pounce to Katsuki, but right before he could hit Katsuki, Shadow, Shade and Fade came through portal and grabbed Lost. Lost, get a hold of yourself. Shade said, yeah, as much as I would agree with you, remember, he can't die or this universe dies with him. Fade adds 14, get ready you two, everyone get back. Shadow ordered they all get as far away as they could, and they saw a red-like aura start to come out of Lost's body and it to a capsule-like object. After a little bit the three stopped, and Lost, while still his werewolf form, they all felt that threading like aura gone. Lost, you still there? Come on, wake up, Shadow said, giving him a quick slap, waking him up. Oh, looks like a lost my cool, Lost said, reverting back to his normal form. What just happened? Denki asked, still shaking. Oh, sorry everyone for that. It's a second body that me and Fade have. We have them since the two of us often take on universes that require us to need a lot of power, and well, I think you can all tell how strong that form was, Lost said. Yeah, and just wow, you managed to get him angry. Out of all of you, Lost is the hardest person to anger. I mean, the only thing that will always anger him and us is looks to the kids. On second thought I shouldn't say it, Fade said. Well then why is that? 'Cause with all of you, there's always a reason for why you act, right? Aizawa said, you have a sharp mind, Aizawa. Well, is cause out of all of us in terms of raw power. Lost is the most powerful out of all of us. Not even our combined power can stop him. Meaning that he's done a lot to make sure he keeps calm, Shadow stated, making everyone flinch. Yeah, we even made estimates of what he could do if he went out of control, and it's something you wouldn't want to think about, Fade said, adding insult to injury. Anyway guys, don't you have things to do? I can tell you were busy, Lost said, not wanting Yue to look at him like a monster. Oh yeah, we should head back. The marker's about to start creating necromorphs, Shade said, opening a portal. Marker? Melissa asked. Necromorphs. Izuku asked. You don't need and don't want to know what that is. Trust me, Shadow said as the three of them go through 5. Alright, since I can tell all of you are a bit tense. How about this, what is something you'd like to see? Lost asked, seeing how everyone was looking at him with fear in their eyes. I know, show us ships. Mina yelled, I hope I'm with Aizu, I mean actually no. Izuku. Mina thought one. I mean I can, but do you all want to see things like that? Lost asked right when he said that all the girls yelled for him to do it. Lost, Eri said, going up to him, shaking. Yeah, Snowball, hey, you don't need to be afraid, it's okay, Lost said, kneeling down to her. See, could you show us that? Eri asked, looking up at Lost, about to shed a tear right before it could fall. Lost agreed. Eri's pureness can apparently take down a person that can destroy whole universes with the snap of his fingers. 5. Well, alright everyone, here you go with the first one, Lost said as the screen light up. I hope I'm shipped with Midoriya/Izuku, the girls all thought. Well, I'm not really sure about this one. Those two are close, but I don't think they'd make a good couple. Well, I'm not really sure about this. 1. Those two are close, but I don't think they'd make a good couple. They say opposites attract, but I think they're too far opposite, Mirio said. 10. Why, Hato, you're a great person, but I can only see you as my closest friend, Tamaki said, covering his face. Yeah, Tamaki, you're more of a brother to me than a partner, Nijar said, so I'm not shipped with Izuku. Wait, there's still a chance. That isn't this universe, Nijar thought. Next, Lost said, www. Momo yelled, embarrassed. www. Momo yelled, embarrassed. Me and Yamomo. Jiro said, I could see it. You two are pretty close, Denki said, and then got stabbed by Jiro's Jack. Why, Yamomo, you're probably the greatest friend I've ever had, but I'm not ready to make that kind of step, Jiro said, bowing to Momo. 1. And no, Jiro, it's fine. You're also one of my closest friends and I don't want to ruin that, Momo said, hugging Jiro. Plus I already found someone I like. They both thought, looking to their classes. Greenie. You guys are kinda emulating the image, Siro said, then was slapped by Tsu. 1. Next, Lost said, oh well, this should be interesting. Lost thought this should be interesting. Lost thought, who's that? All the girls asked out, both confused and jealous. Wait, why does that person look like me? Izuku asked. Well, it's cause that is you. If you were a girl, Lost states. What? Everyone yelled out. Wait, then wouldn't that mean they're siblings? Kirishima asked. Yeah, meaning that it'd be considered illegal for that to happen. Uraraka added. Actually no, Nizu said, catching their attention. Ever since the appearance of quirks, the whole idea of NCST and inbreeding is pretty much gone for 2 reasons. One is that with that rule in place, it takes away the chance for the birth of powerful offspring in the case that 2 siblings have powerful quirks. The second reason is that studies have shown that quirks themselves actually prevent offspring to be born with the defects that could come from inbreeding. So no, this is not illegal, Nizu explains. 41. What's her, or mine, or what her name? Izuku said, getting confused on how to address technically himself/sister. Her name's Izumiya, Midoriya, and usually Izuku, your firstborn. You two are either siblings, or you, Izuku specially, are transported to an alternate world where everyone's gender is flipped, Lost explains. 25. Dang, she looks hot, I'd love to get a piece of that cinnamon roll, Mineta said with a perverted grin. Mineta, say that again and I'll hit you, Izuku suddenly said with a twisted smile. 2. Midoriya, I was just... Mineta said, but was cut off with Siro wrapping tape around his mouth, with everyone surprised to hear Izuku say a threat. 1. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that, I don't know what just happened, it was like I felt something when you said that, Izuku said, a bit frightened. 1. That's an anomaly that happens when you see other version of yourself, Izuku, Lost said, but could you imagine if Izumi was in this universe? Mina asked. 3. In that moment everyone all imagined seeing Izuku and Izumi both. Hit them with a million-watt smile, and with that, the majority of the theater all thought the same thing. I think I'd die of cuteness if I ever saw that. I kinda did wish to have another kid after I saw you change, Izuku. Inko said. What do you mean, Mom? Izuku said, confused, but in the back of his mind was sad and worried since, to him it kinda sounded like she wanted another kid because she didn't want Izuku. I wished I had another kid, for you Izuku. So you could have someone you could really talk to and keep you company, someone that could really understand you and really support you throughout the day and through school, 𝗵𝗃 explained, which made Izuku smile now knowing that his mother was simply wishing for him to have a better, less lonely childhood. 12. Yeah, and Izumi would fit that perfectly since you are her would-be twins and think the same, Mitsuki said. Yeah. Izumi's personality is pretty much the same as yours Izuku, just not as. Heck, most of the time she protects you from Katsuki and Kat, the other bullies, Lost said, almost saying Katsumi 5. Well, if that's the case I'd understand why they'd be together, Ryukyu said, which surprised everyone. Yeah, if Izumi and Izuku's childhood was her protecting him, then it would make sense for their relationship to be closer than brother and sister. Nizu added, to which made quite a few people agree but also made some of the girls jealous. Let's move to the next one please, Lost said. Hope, when they see a universe with Izumi and the others, it won't be one where they beat, bully and neglect him, Lost thought. Hope, when they see a universe with Izumi and the others, it won't be one where they beat, bully and neglect him, Lost thought. Wait, what? Mina said, not expecting this. Oh, look at that. The shipper gets shipped, Toru said, elbowing Mina. That's not the issue, I wanted to be shipped with Izuku, Mina thought. 3. To be honest, I don't think it'd work out. No offense Ishido, but I don't think I'd be able to keep up with you, Kirishima said. 1. Really Kiri? WLOK, and Kiri, like Hato-senpai, you're more of a brother to me than a partner, you always so reliable, but I don't think something like that would work out, Mina said as the two hug. Okay, the next 2 and 1 after our family pairings, not ships, Lost states. 1. Okay, the next 2 and 1 after our family pairings, not ships, Lost states ignore the fact that they're wearing UA uniforms. 3. So this is me, 𝗵𝗃 and Rei as childhood friends. Rather than just me and 𝗵𝗃. Mitsuki asked with a smile. 6. So this is me, 𝗵𝗃 and Rei as childhood friends. Rather than just me and 𝗵𝗃. Mitsuki asked with a smile. Yeah, more or less. There are quite a few universes where your 3 all are childhood friends, and this of course also means that Shoto is also Izuku's childhood friend along with Katsuki. Lost states. I'll leave out that in most of them, 𝗵𝗃 neglects Izuku and the other thing, Lost thought. 12. Well, this is kinda happening in our universe. Midoriya once again. Thank you for helping me with my mother. Shoto said. 1. Of course Todoroki. What are friends for, right? And now I have Aunt Rei as an aunt with Aunt Mitsuki, Izuku replied. Ah. Izuku looked so cute when he was a kid, Melissa said with a blush. Wow. Even to your own mom you're like that, Bakugo. Uraraka said. Just be quiet, round face. Katsuki said, actually watching what he says. Hey 𝗵𝗃, you know, you're so lucky to have Izuku as your kid. I wish he was my son, Mitsuki said. Yes, same with me. Your son Izuku is the kindest person I've ever met. I wish he was my son too, Rei said. Well, maybe not, since I'd never want Izuku to ever go through what 𝗕𝗫 did to my family, Rei thought. Thanks you too. And Rei, thank you for being a part of my son's life, 𝗵𝗃 said as the 3 mothers hugged. Alright, next one. Lost said. Everyone is the theater had a smile seeing this. 5. Everyone is the theater had a smile seeing this. So is this Midori as Eri's brother or father? I mean, she does call you Papa, Mina asked. Ishido, what are you saying? Izuku asked, then he felt Eri hug his leg. Eri. What is it? Izuku asked, kneeling down. Papa, I love you, Eri said, tightening her hug on Izuku. This is a family pairing, not a ship. Remember that 17. Izuku was left frozen hearing his. Yes, he heard Eri call him Papa, but she never heard her say that alongside it. Man, I've seen this more than enough times in other universes, Lost said with a smile. How common is this, Lost? Nizu asked. It's overwhelmingly common. Usually Eri's guardian/parent is Izuku, but if it's not him then it's usually Mirio or Aizawa. Then how about we make it official, Nizu said. But sir, I can't. I'm too young to be eligible, Izuku said. We can pull a few strings to make it happen, or would you rather have Eri one day be put into an adoption center, Nizu said, which shocked everyone. 1. What, but I thought you said that UA would be taking care of her. Nijire said. Yes, however she still needs an official guardian to stay here in Nizu explained. 4. Then yes, sir, I would like to adopt Eri as my daughter, Izuku said. Well then here, make adoption papers appear, just sign here and it's official, Lost said one. Izuku then looks to Eri, who looked like she was about to cry with joy as he signed the paper. Would you look at that, Midobro? You got yourself a kid, Kirishima said. Izuku, if she's now your daughter then that means, Inko said, going over to them, grandma. Eri said, letting go of Izuku. I have a grandbaby. Inko yelled, going and hugged Eri too. Same with us, we have a grandniece. I think that's the right term and she is adorable. Mitsuki and Rei said, joining in on the hug. 5. Hold on, if Midoriya is now Eri's father, who is her mother? Zero asked too. I'd say me. I mean I am the closest with Eri out of everyone, right Snowball? 値said, floating over to Eri, with her face red. 3. Mama, I love you. Eri said, hugging 値, who was overjoyed as she floated into the sky, spinning Eri around, happy to finally hear Eri call her mama. 1. Yeah, usually it's 値 who acts as Eri's mother if Izuku is her father figure. But if Izuku isn't, then it's either Mississippi joke if Aizawa is her father figure, or Eri calls all the girls from class 1A and 1B mama if Mirio is her father figure. Lost explains, well, it can also be Izuku too, not just Mirio where that happens, but I'll leave it out. Lost thought too, ah man, I'd love to be that Snowball's mother's. Not only would I get an adorable daughter, I'd get to marry Sho. Emmy stated. 1. Quiet joke, even if I was her guardian and you her mother, that doesn't mean I'd marry you. Aizawa said, as for the girls that all liked Izuku, they were beyond jealous, but still held it together since 値 hadn't actually said anything about wanting to be with Izuku. Just because two people are acting as parental figures to a kid, doesn't mean they're together, right? 10. Hey Lost, who out of all of us who gets shipped with Deku-kun the most? Uraraka blurted out, making all the girls blush. 3. Getting to that subject, huh? Well, shows you the top 7 of you that I usually see get together with Izuku if you want. Lost said all the girls agreed, wanting to see and hope that they're one of them. Well, here the first one and the one I see the most. After this one, the rest are in no particular order. Lost said, hope this doesn't turn out ugly. Lost thought too. WB. Melissa. All the girls yelled out, jealous. 9. WB. Melissa. All the girls yelled out, jealous. 1. I thought I'd be the most common. I'm Deku-kun's closest friend. Uraraka thought. 8. Am really the most common, that is with Izuku. Melissa said, her face fully red. Well, if you think about it, it kinda would make sense. David said, going to his daughter. You're is the only one here that's quirkless, so you'd be the only one that could really relate to Midoriya on those aspects. David explained. 3. He was right. The one and only thing none of them could ever understand was what it feels like to be born quirkless, and therefore, none of them but Melissa could ever truly relate or understand how Izuku felt being born quirkless in a world of superpowers. But Papa, my life was nothing like Izuku's. Compared to him, I lived a life luxury, and besides, Whispers, why would he go for me? Whispers, Melissa said with a sad tone. And no, you're wrong, Melissa, Izuku said, surprising everyone. You may have not had to go through what I did, but you still had to grow up in world of superpowers without one, yet you were able to push past all that and still see the good in the world. You may have not lived that life I did, but I know you did feel similar to how I did, and your dad's right, you're the only one I can really relate to. Izuku explained, making Melissa faint with embarrassment and making the girls even more jealous. 1. Wow, Midoriya, since when did you become a lady killer? Zero said with a grin. 1. Wait, Zero. That's not what Iz was trying to do. I just didn't want her to feel bad. Izuku said, turning back into his normal self. Dang it, Midoriya. You scored one. The hottest girls here are. Mineta yelled but was stabbed by Jiro's Jack. 3. Let's move on, Lost said, switching the image. I hope I'm one of them. The girls thought. I mainly see this when Izuku's Eri's father. Lost said. 5. I mainly see this when Izuku's Eri's father. Lost said. 1. Wait, then you mean that it'll happen here? The girls all yelled, jealous. No, I'm not saying that. More like there's a high chance it could. Lost said. That, and also all of you being with Izuku. Eri tends to be a big reason on why Izuku gets a H.O. Lost thought. 11. Papa, Mama? Eri said, tugging their legs. Yeah, Snowball. What is it? They both say. 1. Does this mean you're both together? Eri asks. Oh, and it looks like it's gonna happen in this universe too. Lost thought, seeing the look in the girl's eyes. 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗟𝗡 that's that matter not in my decision are really, Izuku said unable to speak properly. Then 𝗕𝗓𝗓 came up to Izuku's ear. I wouldn't mind being with you, in fact I'd love to. Izuku, 𝗕𝗓𝗓 whispered, and thus made Izuku's whole face go red too. I was right. I can really be with Izuku. But looks like a lot of other girls also like him. Am I alright with sharing? 𝗕𝗓𝗓 thought, even the school idol. Mineta yelled but was stopped by Izuku and 𝗕𝗓𝗓. Do not curse in front of the kids. They both said three. Let's just continue. Lost said, wait Lost, can I ask something? Izuku said, after this one bud. Lost said changing the screen. After this one bud. Lost said changing the screen. W8. Really? I am shipped with Midoriya. Momo asked face fully red 6. Ever since the start of the year in UA, Momo started to grow very fond of Izuku. In the beginning of UA she thought Izuku as not very impressive for varying reasons. Each time someone even just looked his way he'd act scared, and if that someone was a girl then he'd turn into a stuttering mess. But now, after knowing why Izuku was like that and seeing and hearing of all the countless acts of kindness and care he'd done for everyone in the class, how he saved Tsuyu and even All Might to an extent during the summer camp, how he defended Kota and later tried to save Bakugo, mix all that will all they've now seen along with literally seeing a universe where she and him are basically married, and it made her take more and more of a liking to Izuku. Well, we did see that one universe where Denki said but was cut off. Don't remind me of it. I mean Momo yelled, turning more red too. Wait, what did you guys see? Izuku asked. Oh, I think it's better that you don't know Midoriya, Zero said, knowing that if Izuku did know he'd likely die from embarrassment too. Okay. Anyway Lost, I have two things I'd like to ask, Izuku said. Sure, go ahead, Lost replied. Am I the only one that gets shipped with different people? Izuku asked with a red face. Well, it's not that you're the only one, it more like you're the most common person that has this happens, Lost said. Team W. I'm not appealing. If anything, I'm below average with looks, Izuku said with a sad expression. 7 Right after Izuku said that he was hugged by some of the girls that liked him. Deku-kun, that's not true at all. Uraraka said, yeah Midori, really you're above average with your charm and that body. Mina said, indeed, you always try and help us. You're an excellent hero and smart, so let us help you too. Momo said, yeah Midoriya, don't say thing like that about yourself. No one here thinks that, and if a certain someone wants to say otherwise he'll have a lot to deal with. Jiro stated, eyeing Katsuki. Thank guys boo. Izuku said but was cut off. Hey, no more downplaying yourself, okay? You, like everyone else, are special and you do have quite the charm. Izuku, Melissa said with a red face. Yeah, and Izuku, I'm gonna tell you this now, you're one of the most kindest people me and the other 3 guiders have ever seen. And that's including other dimensions and universes we've seen. Lost adds 7. Izuku didn't say anything but just smiled as the girls hugged him, knowing that the people around him really did believe in him and that now he must believe in himself. Yet still he couldn't shake off the idea that they're just being nice out of pity. Well, let's continue, Lost said. I'm shipped with Izuku. Jiro yelled out, then immediately covered her mouth at what she said. 15. I'm shipped with Izuku. Jiro yelled out, then immediately covered her mouth at what she said. 9. Well, now that we know Izuku can sing, I could see it. Jiro's hard-headed like personality could help Izuku with his self-esteem, and Midoriya could help Jiro lighten up a bit. Denki explained. 3. I could and can do that for Izuku too. The girls thought, and Midoriya, I'm sorry for what I said. Jiro said, bowing with a sad expression. Even if she was willing to admit that she liked the greenie, she simply to herself at least couldn't think of any reason why Izuku would look her way compared to all the others. She didn't have the outgoing like personality Uraraka had or the playful one girls like Mina and Toru had. She wasn't into doing girly things like wearing dresses or putting on makeup. She was tomboy, which usually isn't seen as an appealing, at least in her mind. 4. But the biggest one for Jiro was her body. She didn't have the curved like body all the other girls in her class had that could hook people's attention, and most notable was the fact that she was flat-chested. 25. So with all that, Jiro just couldn't help but think that she'd never be able to catch Izuku's attention given just how different she was compared to all the other girls. And no, it's fine Jiro, don't worry about it, Izuku replied, trying to put the blame on him like always. Besides, why would he look my way? I'm not attractive compared to the others. 𝗔𝗨𝗧𝗏 whispers just loud enough that Izuku heard it. That's not true at all, 𝗔𝗀𝗧. You're very appealing, you're different sure, but that's what make you appealing and it's part of your charm, Izuku said with a red face and making 𝗔𝗀𝗧 have a glimmer of hope appear in her eyes. Hey, are you saying that we're not appealing or charming? Setsuna teased, 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗍. No, that's not what I meant. All of you here are appealing in your own right. Any guy would be lucky to have any of you. Izuku blurts out, then sinks into himself, realizing what he just said. This of course made all the girls blush, hearing Izuku basically call all of them appealing. Dang Midoriya, when you get so bold, Denki said with a grin along with some of the guys. Guys, stop before you make 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃 pass out again and let's just move on, just 3 more. Lost said as Izuku passed out and was then picked up by the girls to watch over him. 2 pass out again sign, let's just move on, just 3 more, Lost said as Izuku passed out and was then picked up by the girls to watch over him. 4 hold WW. Kendo said, shocked seeing this. 15 Wow, lucky you Kendo, you're shipped with the greenie. Setsuna said, a bit jealous. 4 So even other classes, huh? Denki said, a bit jealous, even other classes. Midoriya 𝗵𝗃𝗏, Mineta said, but was stopped with Kendo chopping him on the back of the neck just like what she does with Monama. 3 Geez, I thought Monama was bad enough. I don't get how you guys deal with him, Kendo said, but still was deep in thought. Sure, she loved the idea of being with the class 1A cinnamon roll. One of the reasons why she supported Monama's idea for Izuku to be brought to their class actually, but she was a tomboy, so like 𝗔𝗀𝗧 she couldn't really think of good reasons for why Izuku would want to date her. Yes, she did have curves and a decent-sized chest, but it was mainly her personality that she thought about. She has the heart of warrior, and as such, like 𝗔𝗀𝗧 didn't take a liking to wearing dresses or wearing makeup or anything that would be seen as girly or appealing from a traditional standpoint. So while she may not have those kind of thoughts as badly as 𝗔𝗀𝗧 does, she still just couldn't think of a good reason for why she'd be a better pick than everyone else. Hey Kendo, you okay? Momo asked, while she was a hit jealous seeing this. Kendo was still a close friend to Momo. 𝗕𝗏𝗏. Awa Momo, why I'm fine, Kendo said, eyeing Momo's body with a sad look. Momo caught on to where Kendo was looking quick since she'd never seen Kendo look at her body like that. After a bit of thought, Momo got an idea of what she was thinking. Hey, Kendo, you don't need to feel like that. You're perfect the way you are, Momo said, putting her hand on Kendo's shoulder. Why, you're right, thanks Momo, Kendo said, putting on a fake smile. If only Izuku was the one that said that to me, Kendo thought, looking to the greenie who was currently still passed out and surrounded by his classmates and his mother and aunts. Alright, next one, Lost said. 8 Have they done that in our universe? Momo asked, jealous. No, it hasn't, but it is nice, Lost said. As for Uraraka, she was a blushing mess. If she had her quirk, she'd be floating up to the ceiling by now. I mean, who could blame her after all the things Izuku has done, all in the effort to protect her? How Izuku broke himself during the entrance exam for the sole purpose of saving her. During the combat training with All Might, how Izuku saved her from Bakugo. During the sports festival, he came to her to provide emotional support to her. You know, I was kinda expecting this from Midobro and Uraraka. I mean, they are pretty close friends, Kirishima said. I'd have to agree, especially since Midoriya did save Uraraka from the 0-point robot, 𝗧𝗪𝗓. Yeah, remember when Uraraka said she felt something about someone and I said it love? Pretty sure she was referring to Midori. Mina said, a bit jealous. They're saying all this since Izuku's still passed out. He's mine. They all thought too. Alright, last one. Well, maybe one more after, Lost said, showing the next one. Well, maybe one more after, Lost said, showing the next one. What happened? Izuku said, waking up. You nothing, Midori, don't worry about it. Mina said, embarrassed and happy to see she's shipped with Izuku. Yes. There's a chance. Looks at his cute face seeing this. Mina thought, eyeing Izuku, while I do think this is cute, it's kinda hard to imagine with how energetic and outgoing Ishido is compared to Midoriya. Denki said, yeah, the two are pretty different. Ishido's cheerful and fully outgoing while Midoriya, while incredibly caring, is shy and reserved. Zero added, making sure he didn't say the things about Midoriya in a bad way. Yeah, but that said, her outgoing nature could help Midobro open up more to us, right? Kirishima stated, That's it, grabs Izuku's mine. I love him more than anything. Melissa yells and then kisses Izuku in front of everyone. 16 While she did have the luxury of knowing that she and Izuku are the most common, seeing all these other girls being with Izuku made Melissa feel that it wouldn't happen in their universe. Especially if you add the fact universes where Izuku is Eri's father figure, 𝗕𝗫𝗓 usually was the one that was with him, gave her more reason to do it. Izuku of course was shocked by this, but before he could think the other girls that liked him went up to him and grabbed him. I was with Deku-kun since the beginning. 𝗎𝙧𝗎𝗍 stated 1, he should be with me. Me and my class can protect him. Kendo said 4, we saw a universe where me and Aizu were together. Momo said, no. He should be with me. I could help him open up. Mina said, I can do that to Ishido. And help him with his self-esteem. Jiro said, hey. What do you mean he's yours? Izuku's with me. He's Eri's father and I'm her mother. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 stated while in the back with the pros too. Sign even with this subject he's a problem child. Aizawa said, well, at least he's not sad anymore. Emi said, yeah. After all the things young Midoriya has experienced, he deserves some love in his life. However, this I'm not so sure. All Might said, well, polyamorous relationships aren't illegal anymore, as long as everyone a part of it agrees without any form of outside influence. In fact, now they're pretty common, with some governments even instigating programs for people with powerful quirks to engage in polyamory relationships. Nizu states, wow, how much the world's changed since I was around. Nana said, I young love if he was just a bit older I'd go for him too. Midnight said with a grin. 15 Back with the Izuku. Eventually all the girls that liked him had stepped up and were arguing over who should be with him. Well, the only one that can resolve this now is Eri. Hope she says the right thing. Lost thought. 𝗵𝗃𝗲. Eri said, catching everyone's attention since she sounded really frightened. Eri, are you okay? What's wrong? Izuku said, moving to his daughter. Wait, did she 𝗵𝗲𝗄? As in plural. Izuku thought, why are they yelling over you, Papa? Eri asked, well, it's something you'll learn when you're older. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 said, but Papa, does this mean I have more than one mama? Eri suddenly asks, making all of them go wide-eyed. 4, there we go. Thanks Eri, now let's see what they do. Lost thought 1 Eri, that's. Izuku said but had his mouth covered. I'm fine with it. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 said, shocking Izuku. What do you mean, 𝗕𝗁𝗄-senpai? Izuku asked, if Eri would want something like that then I wouldn't mind having to share you. Izuku. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 explains. After that all the girls then had a small talk with each other over the matter and eventually went up to Izuku. Izuku, we've decided that we all agree to be with you and be Eri's mothers. Melissa said, too sorry if this feels rushed, I just couldn't think of anything intriguing. 21 WB. But are you all really sure about this decision? Why would any of you even love someone like me? Izuku asked again, downplaying himself. Hey, we don't love someone like you, we love you. Mina said, yeah, Deku-kun, and please, stop downplaying yourself. We could name so many things that are good about you. 𝗎𝗧𝗎 stated, you're kind-hearted, sweet and smart. Melissa said, and not to mention 𝗕𝗏. Mina hesitantly said, you're the most kindest and most admirable boy I've ever met. Kendo said, you've never once looked at us like other guys do. You always see us as who we really are. Momo said 6. You don't judge us for who we are and respect how all of us act. Jiro said, backed by Kendo, since the two were the most different out of all of the girls in terms of their personalities. Yeah, you've saved all of us some many times in the past and all of us kinda always wanted to be Eri's mom since we met her. Deku-kun, 𝗎𝗧𝗎 said, and you are so adorable. Especially when you're embarrassed. 𝗕𝗫𝗓 yelled and hugged him. Izuku didn't know how to feel about this. His whole life he had people always doubt him about really everything he did. Even in UA there were some people that did that to him. While it wasn't as bad compared to middle school, it still hurt Izuku. So for a girl, much less multipliable girls, to suddenly confess that they want to be with him was a lot to take in for him. And it didn't help that all the girls were 1, his closest friends, but 2 were all really cute. If you all really are. Wait, Lost, I have one question to ask before this, Izuku said, looking to him. Yeah, what is it? Lost asked, are there universes where this kinda thing happens? Izuku asks with a red face. Yes, there are. They're pretty common actually. In fact, I'll let this image be proof of that. Lost said, changing the screen. In fact, I'll let this image be proof of that. Lost said, changing the screen. Remove the girls that aren't in the 𝗕𝗏 or don't doesn't really matter at this point, for with this Izuku started to have steam coming off his head with how red he got, while the girls, while they were a blushing mess, they kept the composure, wanting to hear Izuku's response to their request to be with them. My god, Midoriya. You really are a womanizer, 𝗧𝗫 said. Yeah. What the heck, man? I thought you were the innocent cinnamon roll of the school. Denki added, both as a tease but also jealous of Midoriya too. WWWY. Why's it always him? Midoriya, you fool, Mineta yelled, crying 𝗵𝗃𝗍, but was stopped when Izuku and all the girls rushed and smacked him. 6. Do not curse in front of our snowball. Izuku and the girls all said, giving off a very terrifying like aura. After a small beat down on Mineta, Izuku went over Eri. Izuku didn't take part in beating him too. Hey Snowball, Izuku said, kneeling down. 1. 𝗧𝗵𝗲. Eri asked, looking up to him. What you asked earlier? Yes Eri, you do have multiple mamas, Izuku admits to his daughter. Then Eri walked over to the girls and looked up to them as they all knelt down around her. Mamas, I love you, Eri says with a million what smile. 6. All the girls of course then went and hugged their now daughter. We love you too, they all yelled. 1. As for the rest of the theater, they all had a smile on their faces seeing this wholesome sight. Would you look at that? Midoriya really does know how to make people smile. Maybe I could learn a thing or two from him, 𝗵𝗃𝗍𝗏 said. 1. Oh. I think I'm dying. This is too much for my heart. Midnight said, Hey Lost, were you expecting this to happen? Aizawa asked, well, a little, but I mean, Izuku deserves all the happiness in the world along with Eri after the very hard childhoods they both had, and trust me, there could have a lot more people involved in that. Lost states, wait, by involved, are you referring to more girls? All Might asked, yeah I am, heck there are even ones where Izuku also gets with you all, Lost said, pointing to Miruko, Ryukyu, Midnight, Mount Lady, Pixie Bob, Mandalay and Ragdoll. 5. Wait. Seriously? Me with the greenie? Rumi said, unsure of how to respond, while all the others, aside from Midnight, were frozen with a blush. Oh well, if he's into older women then I wouldn't mind, Midnight said in a stuck tone. 6. Bad Midnight. Nizu said, spraying her with a spray bottle. 31. Chuckles, come on, you guys just enjoy the moment, I'll find another universe to show you, Lost said, going to search for another universe to show.